everybody, and welcome back to another Nextlander podcast. The biggest, longest podcast we've ever had. It's touching the edge of the cases. It's bumping into your fans. You get out your drills.
Yep, that's right. You're gonna have to Dremel out your drive bays to fit this podcast in there.
That's right. They say it's just we're dissipating heat all over the place. Brad Shoemaker, how are you doing?
I'm water cooled and ready to talk.
Alex Navarro.
Not actually water cooled, but
Alex Navarro, how many power cables do you have coming out of your butt?
I got out of my butt, only one. But in terms of, look,
just how God intended.
I'm working my way up, okay? We're doing some stretching here. But nonetheless, I have a lot of power cables lying around now.
I got to see one of those ATX 3.0 power supplies yesterday that's just got one cable that you run to your graphics card.
One cable solution. A one cable solution.
As opposed to four.
Okay. We're talking about video cards. Alex, you and I entered the current generation of video cards. We were coming from, these are PC video cards, by the way, in case there's any confusion, which there's probably not. We were both on 2070s. You were on a 2070 as well, right?
We were both on 2070s.
The 2070s, the last card you could get for a while.
It was like right in the... those things came out, I feel like, right around the time the crypto boom was starting to go nuts. And then that whole 30 series is where it basically was impossible to get a card for a long time.
Yes, the confluence of the crypto boom and the supply chain problems of the pandemic. I mean, dude, that shit was crazy.
It was nuts.
People were out there eBaying 970s for like double MSRP, 5 years after they had come out and stuff. Like, people were just desperate to get anything that would make graphics.
Like, I'm always a minimum one generation skipper anyway, sometimes even longer, depending on how big the leaps are between generations and cards. But like, if I had ever wanted a 30 series one, I never would have gotten one because there was no way I was going to go through that rigmarole to try and grab one of those.
And pay that price.
Yeah.
Like, we are now on 4080s, you and I. Brad, what do you have in your machine? You're up there too, right?
I've got a launch 3080.
3080,
so
okay.
it's a 10 gig model. They realized their error and put out a version of the 3080 with more memory later, but I've got the first one.
We were able to, Brad was watching the sheets, keeping an eye out there. We found them for close to MSRP.
The dirt sheets?
Yeah, the dirt sheets.
These were, like the add-in board vendors occasionally, they'll mark stuff up for like, oh, this one's got 5% higher clock speed. Right. That's worth $50, right? So like but you were pretty close to.
Pretty close. It was kind of shockingly close. And we had joked and I had known about, the cards are getting very big and large. But my goodness, you
could kill a man with this thing.
It's the first time I had to move fans around in my case.
You could kill a bear with this thing.
To fit this card in.
You guys got MSIs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did it come with some kind of support bracket?
It did. I didn't install it because it didn't even have instructions on how to put it in. So like,
yeah, I didn't install mine either. It didn't seem like it was like dipping at all, and also it got an accidental support structure in my thing because the very back of the card is touching the front fan of the computer, not the fan part, just the outer casing of it. So it gets a little extra wedge in there,
a little extra cooling too.
Yeah,
probably worth keeping an eye on it. The heavier cards tend to sag over time, which is certainly not good for the slot.
So
that's like that kind of that mounts.
I'm holding it up for the camera.
Yeah, that should mount to the PCIe slots or the mounting bracket.
It looks like it mounts to the mounting bracket, but I couldn't really quite figure out if it's supposed to go upside down and then
it's supposed to hold it. Yeah.
That one looks like it should. Yeah, the card should kind of lay on top of that.
So it would go underneath it and then lay on top, rest on it. It's like a freaking server rail. At this point,
it is.
Yeah, it's
insane. Like a rack rail. I didn't put it in. I guess I could go in and put it in, but it's banana. It felt pretty supported in my case. I put the 3 screws into, or I think, I don't know if it's 2 or 3, but it's one of those things where I got the card and it was, 6 or 7 at night and I was kind of wrapping up and I was like, I should just put this in. It's going to be a super easy swap. I'm just going to put this in. I can take a card out and put it in. First problem. reaching the freaking back tab to release my 2070 has become an issue, right? Because the card is so dang big. So hitting the release tab.
I had to use a screwdriver. I had to push it in there onto the tab. I know. I was very gentle and I was careful. I knew what I could do if that went wrong. It did not go wrong.
So I used the plastic spudger, just like a kind of thing to get in there. I had a screwdriver next to me, and I was like, "Oh, I should just use this." And then I was like, "I am gonna slip and scratch across these traces on this board."
You don't need those.
So I popped that thing. Card came out easy enough, and then I grabbed this other card, and I'm like, "Okay, I already got two PCIe power cables running. Let me just pop it in there, the 12 pins." And it's like, "No, you want 3." And I was like, "Okay, fine. Let me just add another one in there." And then I'm just kind of looking through the manual or the paperwork that's with it. Just let me just double check if there's anything I'm missing before I close this thing up. And it's like, do not use one that splits the cable that has 2. You really should have 3 independent going to the power supply cables. And I was like, are you kidding me?
No, they're not kidding you.
So
they're
course,
dead fucking serious about it.
So I went back in and hooked up. Luckily, I have like 1 million cables in their little like shroud bag, from every power. I found 2 that matched, that were generally, braided and matched. And I was like, not just the raw
not
wire
one that was
ones.
labeled CPU, right?
No.
Okay, because they don't want. Apparently, those are not the ones you want.
No, the ones with the dopey little clip-on 2 extra pins you have to put on the side. That's like, oh, this is so annoying. But anyway. My case, which I really do like. I think the case I'm working in for this is
it the same one I have?
Is it a Crucial case? I can't remember. I
think mine is a Crucial case.
Is it Corsair?
I've got 3 cases here. One's a Corsair, one's a Cooler Master, and I think one's a Crucial. That could be the Crucial. It has a big glass pane on the side with
yeah.
Okay. Is that a Crucial case?
I'm not sure if Crucial does cases. They're mostly a memory vendor. I'm not sure.
Maybe it is Corsair.
But I do think it is the same case that you have.
Can you see yours from there, Alex? Do you know
I'm looking at it.
What does it say on the front of it? Is it Corsair?
Well, no, mine's turned the other way. I can't see the front of it.
That's exactly how mine is too. Yeah.
Wait, the back of your PC faces you?
Oh, yeah.
What?
Oh, yeah. How do you reach all the ports?
Yeah, the ports are right there. That way I can just switch stuff around easily.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I go behind it, I guess.
Well, it's under my desk anyway, so I don't really look at it that much.
All right, fair.
No, all my backs, my butts, the butts of the things always are facing me.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, you might be right. It might be a Corsair case. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm confusing Crucial and Corsair. Either way, it's got that not dumb. I guess it's dumb. It looks nice when everything's together, but the power supply shroud, right? That is like, oh, okay, we're going to kind of hide your power supply so you don't see everything, and you go through the other panel wall to route all your wires, and it looks nice. But getting my big fingers in there to pop in 2 other...
Yeah.
I almost took the whole power supply out.
Yep. Every fucking time I have to do something with the power supply, the whole thing comes out.
Yeah.
I did, because I ended up changing my power supply to one that has the 1 cable you can use for those graphics cards.
See, that's...
And now I've got an extra 100 watts of power supply.
Is that one of those ATX? Is that a 3.0? It must be.
Yeah.
It must be.
That 12 pins cable finally is standardized, so we should be good until there are cards with even worse power requirements.
Oh, are you telling me that the next gen won't have that pin and an extra power thing on it?
Very soon, you're going to need to run 2 12 pins to the card.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I kind of almost wish at this point they just figured out a bus and rail situation on the board on the PCIe Express slot to power those things, or tap into the board at some point.
Yeah, the amount of juice, the PCIe spec for juice that can go out of that slot is not high enough, obviously, for these cards.
Yeah, it's drawing a lot at this point, but I kind of wish there was some better solution than having to run independently to the power supply, because that's for something that changes in and out so much, or it could change in and out so much. Kind of a pain. Yeah, Brad, you're making a face.
I just Googled PCI Express successor to see if there are any consortiums at work.
Yeah, AGP.
On something new. There's one proposed called, I don't know if they thought this name through, Gen Z.
Okay, that's going to cause some SEO problems for them.
No. This is several years ago. I don't know if this is on its way to being ratified or what, but anyway.
So all of that said, listen, we're complaining about having brand new, very powerful cards.
No, and let me be clear. I'm in no way actually complaining. The installation process was a little silly, and the things you have to do for it are
it's
silly.
It's comical. It's like like we had joked so much about it. I thought I was ready for how goofy it was going to be. It wound up taking me like close to 45 minutes to get this. I had to drive to
Flushing.
Yeah, you drove all over the place.
Man, that is the privilege of being in New York, though, that you can just go somewhere in town and get a PC part that you need.
I mean, I could,
that's
but
rad.
I went to the Best Buy and the PC Richard and Sons around here, and I was like, oh, I can probably just get some PCIe cables there.
Yes.
Fucking no. No. So then I'm like, okay, Micro Center says on their website they have PCIe cables. I get there and they're like, no, these are just extenders. So it's like fucking great. So at that point, I was just like, you know what? I'm getting a power supply. Somehow the new power supply I got was cheaper than the one we bought for this PC when we built it like a year and a half ago. So I was like, all right, now I have an extra power supply. Now I have the thing that I can just plug one cable into. It's done. Ended up taking longer. Ended up being more of a process. But you know what? Everything feels pretty solid now.
Last thing I'm going to mention real quick. I went to PC World yesterday. The fine folks at PC World had me on their podcast yesterday, The Full Nerd, up on their YouTube channel. But they were showing me a bunch of the hardware they've got. So every vendor has got a different solution for those little bracing mechanisms.
With the rail, like
yours like mounts to the slot mounting brackets and is just kind of a rail support. One of them that they showed me, I think it's Gigabyte, is a literal jack, like a jack, like you would jack a car up to change a tire. Like, I am not joking. It is literally just an extender that rests on the bottom of the case.
You screw it
with a rubber foot, and it like locks in. You extend it up to support the card and just brace it against the bottom of the case. It's amazing.
Lollipoles? They're like
that
the
is
ones
not OSHA certified, man.
Is it like do you like unscrew part of it to like kind of wedge it in there at all?
I can't remember how it extended exactly.
Okay, that's so funny.
I had to laugh.
It's getting very silly. Like
it's yeah.
Look, PC hardware has always been silly in one way or another. It just feels like now we're spinning off into a whole new direction of silly.
Anyway, like I said, it's silly. It fit in my case. I'm happy. They literally can't make it any bigger for these normal kind of mid-size ATX tower cases. Like it just won't. I mean, the case we have is a fairly big case.
Yeah. These aren't like little micro cases or anything.
No. So yeah. Like I said, I had to move my fan above it. I think our fans were probably in the same exact spot because I think you brought that PC over here to build with me, right? So I probably just put the fan in the same spot, which was under, down a little bit. So my thought being in the air pressure situation that it would intake towards the bottom and then exhaust out towards the top of the CPU, bring that cold air in, rise through and whatever. But now my fan's up top. What am I going to do? What am I going to do?
My fan's in the same place.
Jerry,
it's sold on my card.
Yeah, not
really, but still.
Anyway, I'm excited to jump in there. I played some Hitman with it when we did our stream. Everything seemed to run. I ran the benchmark test on Hitman on the PC on Dartmoor, and
it's the most intensive maps.
Yeah, I'm excited to kind of put it through its paces. Control jumped to mind as a thing I should.
Yeah, Control's not bad. It's got pretty good ray tracing. It's not like. I would say the heaviest ray tracing stuff, if you really just want to go hardcore, is like Metro Exodus and Cyberpunk.
Sure.
Those Spider-Mans had some pretty heavy ray tracing in them, didn't they?
Yes, they've got decent, But those two used global illumination, so they're kind of lighting everything with it, so those are going to push it pretty hard.
Pushing it hard.
Yeah, so...
Well, what about American Truck Simulator? Because that was
I don't know.
That was the second thing I booted up after I booted up Vampire Survivors, the most graphically intensive game. Yeah.
Really.
Look, I'm going to go look at all the pretty graphics at some point. I just kind of like my favorite thing when I get a new video card is to boot up the games that I normally play on the regular and am not currently able to. I mean, Vampire Survivors, you can run at max settings because it has one setting. But with American Truck Simulator, there's certain things I had to dial down a little bit and, I couldn't run in full 4K with full frame rate, whatever. So I just turned everything all the way up.
Was it fine?
Yeah.
Nice.
Like, it's not running at like 120 hertz or anything, but like it runs smooth and everything looks real nice. And you want to drive through Texas at night, it's never looked better.
I mean, listen,
literal Texas doesn't look that good.
I've heard Flight Simulator is something I should definitely boot back up and get in there and try that out. So simulator games can be very taxing. So
American Truck Simulator is a little older. You know, it's not really pushing shit the way something like Flight Simulator is.
I still think Minecraft RTX is one of the coolest things you can do with ray tracing. Like, as a sandbox, as a thing where it's got a bunch of different types of emissive surfaces and lights you can move around and just like make things happen that are fun with light. It's a fun toy. And very, very demanding.
Video cards. They're expensive.
We have them.
We have them. It's been a while. We've been talking about it for probably a year plus now. I'll say my favorite thing with a video card is not even necessarily the gaming side. It's like exporting out of Premiere or doing a recompress of something, have those CUDA cores kick in.
Oh yeah,
and see if like, is this going to be faster? And I'll say it's faster.
I bet.
It's nice.
Those NVIDIA cards do so much that's not graphics these days. Did you see the stuff they rolled out yesterday?
No,
I forget the official name for it. Is RTX Video Super Resolution, I think. It works in Chrome and Edge. It does automatic like AI upscaling of low res video in Chrome and Edge.
What?
So any old YouTube video, or you go watch some of those 360p Giant Bomb videos from the first few years.
What?
You blow up that video player, it will you've seen people doing an AI upscaling.
But this is real time.
Yeah, I have that Topaz software.
Right, like that's offline upscaling. This is basically real time in your browser. You should give that a shot.
I should give that a shot.
I saw some people doing it with the 2 Human video. It kind of, it had a little bit of that plasticky look that AI upscaling has, but
like what was that? The American Action Hero, the game we played, that FMV game we played that time. Everybody looked a little too plastic,
a little too not 1080p.
Yeah. All right, let's move away from the video card stuff for a little bit.
I'm sure we'll come back to it as we continue to play games on these things.
Yes, yeah. I'm excited to see pretty graphics both from your streams and when I build a new machine as well.
Yeah, I like it. It's one of those things where I play a lot of stuff on PC, and it's nice to be able to. I was getting into the medium territory, which is fine. It's not a problem. But when you're trying to showcase a game, it becomes a little less fun.
It's just nice. It's nice to have a piece of hardware that will play pretty much anything in your library as well as it can be played.
It's nice to have the support of everybody out there and a company with which to do it as well. So I'll say that.
So thank you.
Yeah, so thank you, because these are expensive cards.
Didn't have to cross your fingers and wait for next quarter's CapEx.
Yeah, seriously. Right, yes. I didn't have to write gaming chair on it.
No, this is for production work, I swear.
This is right. I need this. Okay. Let's before we take our break, let's kind of quickly pivot over into PlayStation VR2 stuff. I also got my PlayStation VR2. I want to say I got it kind of immediately after we recorded the last one, so I don't think I talked about it last time. Out of the box, booted it up. I've been having a lot of fun with it. I played some Call of the Mountain. I think that game plays well. My space is very small. I don't have room scale where my PS5 is. It's super small. So I've been doing a lot of it sitting down and standing up when I need to. But the thing I realized was, for me at least, if I just slide my PlayStation 5 close to the door and just run the cable into the next room, I could just wear that headset in that other room. I don't need to be in front of the PlayStation 5.
Totally. You don't even need the TV on.
Yeah, so I can kind of just go, I basically have a tiny little sliver of a room where that TV is. I could just go into the living room and move a chair out of the way and play.
You could run an extension cord and do you have like a back porch or something? Do you just set the PS5 up on the back porch and play it in the yard?
I wonder
if you're not worried about your neighbor's opinions.
That would also be a really great way to confuse the shit out of Kirby.
Yeah. Yes, that would be kind of scary. Do you think you can extend further on that USB 3 cable?
There are extension cables out there that I've seen people say they are using.
Okay.
I would, in that case, I would probably just run an electrical extension cord, though.
Well, I don't want to have to unplug or like plug the PlayStation 5 back in all the time. It would be so much easier if I just, if I didn't have to power down and unplug it and plug it back in. If I could just do the extension cable. But it's getting pretty long at that point.
Yeah, I have seen some people say they are using extension cables. I don't know how long, but yeah, USB does have a signal limit. So I don't know how much further you can go. But
I only need like an extra 3 to 4 feet to get into the next room. So maybe I'll look into that. Either way, I think it's a nifty piece of hardware. I think, Brad, you were saying this on the when you were on the podcast yesterday with Gordon, that it is still the thing you do in addition to playing video games, and I thought that was really great way to put it. Like it's not a thing. I'm not coming home and I'm not just like can't wait to get into more VR. It's like I'll play a game and then I'll be like I should go play some VR for like 45 minutes to an hour. Been playing a lot of Tentacular. I really like that game. The building in that game gets really weird, and you got like these like sticky joints you can build stuff with. I've been playing that. Like I said, Call of the Mountain.
How far are you in Horizon?
Not that far. I've every time I've played that, my daughter or son comes down, and then here's the problem with VR. It's so isolating. I feel bad. I'm like, do you want to try? And like, then it's like, okay, well, let's switch to your profile because I want you to have your own progress. And also then we need, I want to hope, and I don't know if this is true, it's saving some settings per VR on a profile. Calibration settings. And I don't know if that's true or not because obviously the pupil distance is hardware. That's with that lever, but they go through a whole setup every time somebody else's profile has VR on it. You can't. It's like that unskippable setup.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So I switch it over to them, and then they go through it, and then they play Call of the Mountain for a little bit, and then I'm like, okay, and here's your brother. He play Call of the Mountain, and then it's like, okay, my turn. I'm gonna play Call of the Mountain. So I've made very slow progress switching between the three.
Have you made it to the hub yet?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We spent a lot of time breaking dishes, as you might suspect.
Oh yeah. Sure. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
The hub, I've tried multiple times. The way the game handles the hub stuff, like you can't just warp back there anytime you want. Like once you're in a mission, you have to finish the mission to go back, and then I thought we talked about it last week on the stream. Once you get back there where I'm at in the story, it was nighttime and there were no people around, but you can just go find videos of this. I know I keep talking about it and not showing it, but what they've done in that game, the work they've done to account for you getting way too uncomfortably close to the NPCs is like something you need to see.
Okay.
Because it's awesome. I don't know if you want to wait for a stream or I can just tell you and you can go pull up a video.
Tell me.
Do it yourself. They have like socially, behaviorally accounted for the act of getting right up in the face of those people. Like they will lean away from you. They will kind of look down their noses at you as they're doing it. You can get right up on them, and I basically could not get
clip through them.
I could not breach the character mesh. Like I could not get inside of the head or anything. Like they go out of their way to get away from you.
That's funny.
And I saw a video on Reddit of somebody, I didn't even think to do this. Somebody basically like using the two fingers, the in-game hands, with the index fingers to sort of like try to pick the nose of one of them. And they like not only get to like maneuver away from that, but their eyes go down and like kind of
like,
sort of derisively look at the fingers that are coming at them. Like it's like weirdly it goes to your, I don't know, subconscious just social sense of I'm bothering this person, it felt uncomfortable for me getting close enough to the models to engage that.
That's fun.
Like this character's like detailed enough and I'm close enough to them that I genuinely feel like I'm being creepy and bothering somebody because of the way they're reacting to me. It's like kind of an amazing detail.
I like that. That sounds like a smart way to do it.
Yeah.
Though I could go the other way and just allow you to like pick their nose or slap them in the face or like kind of Three Stooges their eyes or something like that and not have them react. Could also be fun.
Like they should start making the Three Stooges noises when you do that.
There's probably a massive amount of untapped comedy potential in VR.
Like if you have the Mario 64 face style mechanics where you're just like pulling their nose and their mouth while they're trying to deliver their dialogue, that could be fun. I think as a piece of hardware coming from the PlayStation VR, I'm very impressed. I like it a lot. It's a lot of money. But it's a lot of hardware. The controllers take up a lot of room. I'm still so futzy and fiddly trying to get them in their charging docks and like sliding them around to get them in there or putting them on. And, I still have to turn the camera on in the VR to get my hands in the right way and find the thing. I still futz around with where the buttons are a lot of times. Which one has circle? Where's the triangle? This and the other thing. But overall, it's pretty good. I don't understand why you can't turn the system on with the PlayStation VR headset. Like when you hit the power on the headset, I feel like it should boot the system, but it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, you can boot it with the VR controllers.
With the controllers,
so if you kind of want to just get yourself situated and get it on and hold the controllers and then turn it on, and then once it's at the login screen, you can turn the headset on there and log in.
So. Yes, but I usually wind up grabbing the headset first, putting it on, and then trying to boot the system to put the cameras on, and it's like, forgot. No, I can't do it that way. I also still have the same problem I had with VR, probably every VR headset, which aren't a lot, but mostly the PlayStation VR, which is I still get some blur around the edges. Like I can never get everything in focus on 100%, but the adjustment controls on the headset are much better than they were previously. So it's closer.
Yes, it doesn't fit with my, this is kind of nitpicky, like the bigger headphones that I have, like stuff like the Astro A40s and things of that size. Like the first PSVR, those headphones fit fine over that, and this one, something about the headband is bigger or something, and like it are you using the earbuds, the ones that came with it?
I'll use the earbuds, or if like the kids are around, I'll just play through the TV speakers.
Okay, I might have to go to those earbuds because it does not fit with big cans as well as the first headset did, which is a little bit. Here is the ultimate test of how much you like it.
Yeah.
They're like most of the reputable VR lens places are taking pre-orders for prescription PSVR2 lens inserts.
I would do it.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just going to say, I kind of want to put my contacts in to play it. I actually switched out. I put a pair of old glasses near it. So, because these glasses are a little too big.
Yeah. So I think I might go for a pair as well. I think I like this thing enough that either the good ones seem like they're average about $50.
But I have to swap them out when the kids play, which would be kind of a pain.
The ones I was looking at, I mean, of course they say this, but they say they're very easy to put in and take out for other people to use.
So yeah, I would do it if it works well. If you're supposed to get your same prescription, I would do it.
You literally in the pre-order form, you literally just punch in all those values from your prescription.
Cool. Yeah, I would do it because I would love to get the headset closer in on my face.
Yeah.
I think that would help with some.
Yeah,
stuff.
I thought it is workable with glasses, but it would be way nicer not to have to deal with it.
Yeah, I need to try it with contacts just to see if it's a difference. I'd probably do that before I pre-order those lenses. And they're third party; they're not Sony.
No, yeah, they're all third party, but these are companies that have been doing it for PC headsets for quite a while. There's a lot of people vouch for this stuff.
Yeah, I still think it is a peripheral and it is a novelty, and it is If people want to know, I think it's not a must buy. I think it's a cool thing to have, and I now that I have it, not yet, and now that I have it, and there are a bunch of games. If you want to spend some money on the PlayStation VR store, you can do that. But would I have spent the money if like I weren't doing this for a living, or didn't have work to do it with? I don't know if I would. Having played it now, like. I've been playing it a bunch, and it's fun, and I play it to make sure we have stuff to talk about, too, and I enjoy playing it, but at the end of the day, I'm like, I want to go play Dead Space. Like, I want to go put Dead Space back on and play that.
Did you try firing that up in the cinematic mode?
No. Okay. Like I said, there's a lot going on in my house at any given time. Being isolated like that's a little weird. I've sat on the dog a couple of times, it's like,
It's a big dog. I mean, it's not going to hurt him, but still.
No, but like, my dog likes to sit on that couch, and when I stand up and then sit back down, you don't know which part of the couch you're sitting back down on, and like there's a dog, and like, I don't put my full weight because I know a dog is there, but a kid can slide in. There's like stuff going on. So
like, I'm so easily startled as it is. Like sometimes I will literally just have like these earbuds in and be listening to music in here, and then like Sam will knock on the door and I will go blah. So like VR is I need to make sure there's no one and nothing that's going to interrupt me if I'm going to do it. Otherwise, I'm going to fucking fall on my ass.
But it's super fun. That's it. It's a fun, very expensive peripheral.
Yes.
And I think well made so far. Obviously I haven't
hell of a time for expensive things that are kind of cool.
Yeah, right, exactly. I think for me, my biggest thing, probably the next time I will talk about this, is either a new killer game comes out for it or it gets PC mod support. Those are the two things I'm kind of waiting for at this point. A bunch of stuff we'll get to later was announced during the State of Play and it's nice to see they're going to put some more games out for it. TBD on the kind of future dev support, I guess.
Yeah. I did a little research. I tracked down the developer of Ivory, which is a driver that lets you use the original PSVR on PC.
Yeah.
Commented on the possibility of PC support for this. He said he's going to start working on it soon, but he also he had this big 3-paragraph response to somebody on Reddit that very much was like, okay, look, if this ever works, it's going to take years.
Really?
And there is no guarantee this is ever going to work.
Oh my gosh, years.
Yeah. So I think it took like two plus years for the first headset, and that headset was way less complex than this one.
Okay, but
so you're going to be waiting probably unless there's some massive breakthrough. His guidance is that it's probably going to be a while.
Or Sony is like, I want to sell these things on a different marketplace. I mean, Sony's got their games, first party games on the PC. Maybe they'll be like, how many? If the word gets out there, and I'll start the word. Wow, this is really a great way to get into VR. And if it had PC support, I would say this would be a no-brainer buy for everybody out there. Now start spreading that word out there, and so Sony can move some more headsets, because I'm sure the PS5 install base is still not huge, and I'm sure they want to move more of these units. And if you don't, well, I wonder what you would need. That's the other kind of X factor. What kind of PC you would need to run the hardware,
right?
On the if you plugged it into your PC, now you have to worry about what's in your PC, right? Because obviously PlayStation 5 closed system, they could develop for it. So I don't know. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about video games that don't require necessarily a very expensive video card or VR headset, but it couldn't hurt if you had it. We'll be right back. Stick around. This week's show is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Brad and Alex.
Yes?
I feel like I'm not going to tell anybody out there that they need a VPN, but you know when you need a VPN.
Mm-hmm. That's a safe assumption.
When you need a VPN, you know you need a VPN. ExpressVPN is out there ready to cover your VPN needs. ExpressVPN is an app that reroutes your internet connection through their secure servers, so your ISP can't see the sites you visit. ExpressVPN also keeps all your information secure by encrypting 100% of your data with the most powerful encryption available. I've used ExpressVPN before. I've actually used them for a while now. I think their speeds are actually pretty good.
Okay. Do you feel safe?
No, but I rarely feel.
You never do.
That's too big a question for one ad.
No, I found it pretty easy to use, install in different places. For my personal experience, ExpressVPN is available on all your devices, it says here, phones, computers, even your smart TV. I would use ExpressVPN when we would travel a lot, and I would turn it on for hotel Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
That's a lot of my main use case stuff. Protect your online activity today with VPN rated #1 by Business Insider. Visit our exclusive link, expressvpn.com/Nextlander, and you can get an extra 3 months free on a 1-year package. That's expressvpn.com/Nextlander. It's expressvpn.com/Nextlander to learn more. Thanks, ExpressVPN. All right, we are back and moving on to more video games here. Alex Navarro.
Yes.
You played some of that Atomic Heart?
Yes, that game, which has had, let's just say, a little bit of a murky situation going on around it.
What's the story? What's the state?
Short version, Mudfish, a developer that was at one time, I think, based in Russia, but no longer is. There was some reporting out there about the company having specific financial ties to various Russian state entities. And for their part, they have not, they've tried to sort of talk around it without just straight up saying, making anti-war statements, because that is a thing that I think is somewhat of a dangerous thing for Russian citizens to do, but also I have no idea what their real opinions are on this sort of stuff. So, people who are uncomfortable with the idea of supporting Russian anything right now, given the state of the war in Ukraine, have raised some concerns about this thing. I don't feel like any of this stuff has been fully picked apart, and it feels like we're not going to get any real resolution on it in the foreseeable future. And honestly, the only reason I booted it up is, at this point, one, out of curiosity, because it did always look like a really interesting, at least visually, piece of work. And second of all, it's on Game Pass. So
we saw a lot of it
already.
Leading up to in the Panorama and stuff. We would see it a lot. And I booted it up too a little bit. It's aside from the murky kind of development process, it is also in-game a Soviet kind of alternate Soviet era game.
Oh, extremely. And in that BioShock way, which, by the way, this is a BioShock. Like, it's 100% a BioShock. But yeah, like in that sort of, here's your alternate historical take on things. Here is this like retro-futuristic technology. Everything in the world is very much like Soviet Union thriving, America sort of, suffering at the great advancements in Soviet tech type stuff. Kind of mentioned in the intro there. But also, they got the most Yahoo-ass Americans to fucking voice these characters in a way that is borderline hilarious.
Have you enjoyed what you played of it so far? I only got through kind of some of the walking around just to see what the vibes were in it, and it's like...
It takes a while to get going. It's like it has one of those big, check out all this scenery we built intros where you're walking around and looking at stuff.
Is it actually open world? I've seen talk that, I know that prologue stuff is very protracted, but I've seen people say oh, I got out into the open part, and I wasn't sure if it's truly open world or how it's structured.
So I haven't gotten a full sense of that yet. The first place they dump you, which I'm still in now, after you get through that intro, is in this underground base, where a lot of the robotic stuff is happening. By the way, it's about robots that go haywire. I'll leave you to determine why the robots have gone haywire, but you can imagine there's been some political malfeasance going on there. But the robots have that sort of mid-century automaton kind of look to them. They all kind of look like crash test dummies, and the ones that don't just straight up look like Matrix Sentinels. There's a lot of weird squiddy, drilly kind of nasty things, as well as the sort of people robots. But it seems like it has that BioShock thing of, at least in the area that I was in, there's a lot of areas you can kind of wander around to. A bunch of them are locked off, and then you kind of go around puzzle solving your way and combat encountering your way through the areas you couldn't get to before. But I don't have a great sense of exactly how open it is yet. I don't know if I would call it open world, but maybe it's open area. In that BioShock kind of way.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
I've seen people talking about it, not just because of the kind of maybe murky or unsure provenance of the game, but B game-ish kind of.
Here's the thing: if it wasn't for the visuals, which I do think are pretty impressive and have a real distinct style to them, that is not just here's our Soviet take on BioShock. It is the most B game I have played in a minute. I mean, there have actually been a decent number of games I would put in that category recently, but this, the writing especially, has this real, you paid $40 for this for the PS2, just chucklehead fucking writing, which it embraces it. I'll say this, it's not trying to pretend it's smart and it's dumb. It kind of knows it's dumb and is just leaning all the way into it.
So it's on Game Pass. It's $60 I think on the PC and $70 I believe on the consoles if you're paying retail out there. Yeah, I don't know. Like
the combat's okay. I think like you have this. It's yet another game where you have a little talking thing that's attached to your hand. This is just an AI that is sort of in your super cyber glove, which has these little. One of the neat visual effects is these little tendrils that coming out of your glove all the time. They attach to things. They suck in all the gear that you're going to pick up around the environment. Like literally, it's like a vacuum that just sucks everything in when you're in a room that has a bunch of like stuff to collect, which is kind of neat. But yeah, like it's
scanning.
It's a lot of scanning, but the combat, at least in what I've had, like the guns are okay. The hand-to-hand is fine. Like it's challenging, but I don't feel like I've seen a lot of variety in it yet. There's probably more once you start unlocking more things. But, you know, all the weapons are upgradable. It's, I don't know, like the gameplay feels very okay so far. It really feels like you're there for the visual feast and the aesthetics.
Yeah, so you know what might be worth doing, because it's also on PC Game Pass and your save would just carry over, is you should go download that version since your save will just be there. And so that game originally made a name for itself because they put out a tech demo benchmark kind of tool thing a couple of years ago, and everybody was like, holy shit, this looks amazing. Like people use that to benchmark their PC stuff. So like if you really want to see something that looks great and pushes that new card, that would be something worth looking
Yeah, I'll
into.
take a peek at that version. I had already downloaded it on the Xbox prior to getting this card. I just hadn't started it up yet. So, but yeah, I'll give that a look. It's okay. It seems okay so far. But again, I will totally understand if people are like, I am not comfortable playing this thing in its current situation.
Yeah. I really wish there were more clarity on that thing. I mean,
there won't be is the thing. I don't think we're getting any more out of this until either the war ends or something bad happens.
We're past. I think we're past the window where they would be willing or likely to say anything else. I think they've kind of let that go at this point.
All right, that's Atomic Heart, a game which I feel like in my soul people should be talking about, or is a big deal, or I don't know, maybe in certain circles. I think
it's because we are of a certain era of gaming that maybe we, and also a certain, you in particular have a certain alignment to this kind of game.
Maybe, but the game I'm feeling nobody is talking about that came out like last week is Company of Heroes 3. I feel like a Company of Heroes release should be a big deal.
It used to be.
Yeah, and this is kind of I even went to go double check to see if it was on the Steam. What do they call their tab now? Noteworthy, or like
new and trending, or whatever.
New and trending, and did not see it.
Really?
On there. I don't think so. At least as of today.
I should check top sellers. That makes me RTS has kind of been lost in the wilderness for some time now. So,
and Company of Heroes 3, I don't think is so. My memory's terrible. I don't really remember when Company of Heroes 2 came out, but I feel like it's been a bit.
Oh, it's been like a decade, I want to say.
So
it's been a long time.
You'll have to forgive me on like what Company of Heroes 2 did that Company of Heroes 3 is also doing, or what's different, because I it's hard for me to remember.
But just under a decade, like June 2013, actually. I don't remember. It's been so long since I played 2 that I couldn't tell you.
It's so, Company of Heroes is a game that I kind of had a bit of a love-hate relationship with, or a franchise. It pulled the camera way in, kind of went more with squad-based RTS mechanics that kind of Warcraft 3 had, and not necessarily hero units in Company of Heroes, oddly enough, but it's more of like, hey, when you build a unit, five guys are going to pop out, and the health of your unit's going to be dictated by how many people are left in that squad.
Much squad tactics are kind of the name of the game. It's not the Blizzard or even like Westwood Command and Conquer style of I'm not going to attack move like 80 guys at this base and they're just all going to get mowed down like cannon fodder. It's like the cover mechanics were the thing in Company of Heroes that really jumped out of like, oh wow, you can tell these guys to go take cover and they will intelligently find places to do it, and you can flank, and it's cool.
Yeah, flanking, like you said, cover mechanics, and also I don't know if this was, I remember from Companies of Heroes, but I don't know if it was new in there, was when you set a destination, when you hold down the cursor, you can kind of say where you want them to point and set up fire, was also kind of neat. And that's all here. The cover stuff is here. The The vehicle stuff is kind of neat in Company of Heroes 3. A lot of armor and moving around artillery on the map. It's World War II, in case people don't know. The campaign I'm doing now is on the Italian front, but it is still just killing Nazis. It's like, I think within the first mission, they're like, the Italians have surrendered. We're basically on the same side now.
It never gets old.
Yeah.
Killing Nazis.
It's if you're up for shooting Nazis with old World War II weapons, boy, it's got it. If you want to hear people scream, my kids are upstairs, so I'm going to scream it low. Just people screaming fucking Jerry's and the whole thing. Well, I've got a game for you.
Okay.
It's a lot of that. It's not bad.
Yeah, I'm looking at review. It reviewed pretty well.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just it feels a little also ran. So there's this overworld map, which I don't think Company of Heroes 2 had much of this, but you kind of have this like zoomed out campaign map, which feels more akin to like a Civ than a Company of Heroes, where you have you'll have like a representation of a tank unit that you are now moving across a map with movement points. Like, you can move 23 movement points, and you have one action, and that action can be capture a town or not. Or sometimes you'll get into these skirmishes, and you can either auto-resolve the skirmish, or you can jump in and do the skirmish yourself. It's kind of weird. There's some strategy on you can capture towns or capture ports or capture other things that give you different resources and mechanisms to move your troops around on this kind of bigger tactical map. I'm pretty early on, but there's like loyalty points for decision making between the different generals in the campaign. There's one general where I am at who is on the forgive me, I don't know the name of the armed forces, but basically the UK's a branch of the armed forces, and the kind of United States branch on the Allies side, right? And they're cliche butting heads, being like, you should take the more measured approach and go capture this port. And the cigar chomping U.S. guy is like, come on, just rush in there. We got to push them back. And, you're like, you agree with one of them.
So basically, it's either Brad Pitt in Inglourious Bastards or Mike Myers in Inglourious Bastards.
Is this full on Patton will remember that?
Yes. So yes. So if you side with Patton, it's not Patton, but if you side with the cigar chomping guy, you get a point or something that he's got his own tech tree, which allows you to then kind of get things down that tech tree. They're small. They're like bonuses, right? Of like, okay. It's an interesting wrinkle in it. I'll tell you what though, that map is so damn tight. I can't see anything. I am constantly spinning the zoom wheel back to be like, you got to give me a little more on this thing. You can tilt the map to kind of get a lower angle and see a little further ahead, but I just want to zoom out more, man. I really just want to see more. There's kind of neat building destruction. I read some reviews where maybe that people were having trouble with bugs, but it's been working for me. You can clear out buildings. It's kind of neat. It's overall, it's a mechanically sound game. I think it's pretty good. It's just, I think my biggest criticism is I've been a little bored in it. That's kind of it. It's maybe a little boring.
Yeah, I don't know what state RTS as a genre is in at this point. Like, there aren't many of them anymore, and maybe this is why. There
was just that Demon Hunters Warhammer 40K game, which was more XCOM than RTS. Yeah. Like, it was more like that, and I think that's where I'd rather spend my time, personally, than in something like this. But I really liked their Dawn of War stuff, and where they went with where the Company of Heroes, I don't know if it was the same team. It really felt like it.
Well, I don't know about same team, but they were both Relic.
Yeah, I don't know if it felt like they basically just made the later Dawn of War stuff, Dawn of War 3.
Was this Relic? Did they make this?
Like whatever version of Relic there is now. At is this THQ Nordic? Is that the current name of where Relic is?
Oh no.
Because Sega originally put these out, right?
I think they published them. Yeah,
Sega still got Relic, right?
Oh, I thought THQ Nordic was doing this one.
I don't think so.
I can't remember where everybody wound up.
It is hard to keep track these days.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's
This is still Sega.
It's still Sega publishing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it is Relic still developing it.
So it's not bad. It is, it's $50. $60 on the PC. So it's a full price game. Not that I guess it should be anything less than that, but like I said, it feels like a game. If you like a traditional RTS, like
out of time, maybe a bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, I have to play more of it to come to some kind of grand conclusion. But like I said, I just found it a little boring, but sound, and I don't really have that many criticisms of it other than it's not grabbing me. So that's out. Came out last week. I'll just tack on here quickly because I was gonna play it. But that new Settlers game came out. People are
they're not happy.
Not happy about that. And I was because I am not a Settlers fan or very familiar with that franchise, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Finally, I can get in there and see because people love that series. See what's going on there, and boy,
not so much.
Like, when I was looking up to be like, oh, I'm gonna get a primer on this thing.
This is the Settlers' New Allies, right?
Yeah,
that's the new one.
Yeah. People did not seem very happy. Like, really, kind of angry about it. Just not the Settlers they had wanted. I guess is the thing. More than just kind of like my game.
58 average on that one. So yeah. People comparing it to more of an Age of Empires than, I guess, what Settlers was, which was more in-depth. I keep saying, like, oh, RTS is dead, and I keep forgetting that Age of Empires is still kind of going strong, and in fact, like, they started a whole new studio to keep it going, So,
yeah.
I guess all of the classic RTS franchises are not a thing of the past.
Yeah, I mean, Relic touch Age of Empires?
I don't think so.
That was like a weird one. That was Microsoft, right?
Yeah, it was mostly just Dawn of War and Company of Heroes for them, I believe.
And who did the most recent one?
Wait a minute, I could be wrong about this. Oh, wait, no. Did they do AoE 4? I think they did.
Okay.
Actually, yes, I totally forgot about that.
They are the RTS people at this point?
They and World's. So World's Edge is the studio that Xbox has running or kind of stewarding Age of Empires now. It's like them and Relic are credited on 4.
And they've got a Homeworld coming out, right? Isn't that Homeworld 3 supposed to be this year?
Man, it's hard to keep track of where Homeworld is these days. Still coming soon on Steam. No date.
Hey.
That's Gearbox putting that out. I think Gearbox bought the Homeworld IP, right?
They did, yeah.
Oh, weird. Okay, wait. So Relic is making it?
No, that's Blackbird Interactive, which I could be wrong. I think is like members of the original Homeworld team.
All right, we gotta stop. We're too in the weeds. Mm-hmm. It's all right. Anyway, that's Company of Heroes 3. Yeah, I'm curious. I haven't seen anybody really engaging with it that I know or talking about it even on the Discord. And like I said, it's a game in a previous incarnation of covering games. It would be a big release with an event and the whole thing.
Yeah.
Another one that is in early access that I didn't really think would come out, but it has come out, is Kerbal Space Program 2.
Yeah. They did it, sort of.
Well, yeah, it's still early access. There are noticeable things missing with it. There are noticeable things wrong with it.
Such as air.
Such as an atmosphere.
It's currently missing air.
And some interesting physics in some places. Yeah,
so... But for what it's missing, I will say my time with it has a pretty great onboarding for the basics of getting a ship up, and the tutorial seems like it's got a lot of personality, and but
it also feels like it has not lost the flavoring of what made the original Kerbal both interesting and goofy.
Yeah, and I mean, they basically seem like they rolled in a lot of the better mods that for Kerbal and just kind of which they should have, integrated them in. It remains TBD. Let's see what happens with future mod support. Modding was a giant part of Kerbal, and so we'll see what happens, especially on the console side of things. This is on the PC. We're playing it again, early access. It's $50 currently. I don't know if that price is expected to go up at full release when the game finally comes out.
I could see it.
I could see it as well. It's something that I could also see in early access for a very long time.
Yeah.
So, I want to say it's almost hard to know Kerbal not being in early access because that game constantly felt like it was iterating and changing. And but this seems polished. That's not the right word.
It seems like it's a good foundation for them to work off of. Like that stuff, like the bugs we ran into aside, it feels like most of the features you would want are at least in some form there.
Yeah, or on the way. I mean, like it's getting kind of drubbing on Steam. I think because of the price it launched at and some of the stuff that's missing. Yeah, I think some people are not thrilled with the price for some of the fundamental stuff that's not in yet, but it seems like it'll get there.
I would see those reviews being justified if the thing had been out in early access for a while and they had not updated the roadmap or actually started to add those things. I think at launch, it's a little weird to go hard at something like that and say, well, all this stuff is missing. And it's like, yeah, they probably know that.
Their roadmap looks cool. You're taking a gamble, like any early access thing. You're taking a gamble on it, and whether the stuff is implemented well or gets implemented at all, that's a gamble for $50. Like hey, heads up, it's $50. But
also, if any of you make an appearance on the Steam page, I don't know if you've seen.
No, I did not see.
If you have it in front of you,
this
news update on Steam with the headline KSP2 performance from Thursday, the 23rd of February. If you find the thumbnail for that.
Wait, is that supposed to be me?
If you're going to tell me that's not a Kerbal version of you, I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Why is that? That's weird. Okay. Yes, it is definitely hey, listen, that could be any person.
Fair. There's a lot of
but here's the thing. That does look a lot like you.
There's a lot of people with glasses and beards out there, but
Well, they're wearing a Kraken, Get Kraken, that Get Kraken shirt with an octopus on. That could be anybody. I don't make that piece.
No, that's you.
Sign. Okay.
I'm saying it's you.
Listen, I'll take it. I like Kerbal a lot.
Vinny, it's you.
It's me. Like I said, the roadmap, I'll just read off some of the things in the roadmap because now that I have the Steam page open. The campaign is not in the game yet. That's a thing that I really want to see. The kind of I was going to say Interstellar. Interstellar stuff is also a thing I really want to see. And multiplayer. Like, that's a thing on their roadmap, which I really want to see. Like, being able to jump into Kerbal with other friends could be really fun.
What does that even look like, I wonder? It's like, surely everybody's not going to be, like, putting parts on the rocket at the same time. Like, that seems like a recipe for chaos, but... So, I wonder, like, or maybe everybody's like flying their own rocket.
How cool would that be if you could?
That would be cool.
Or what if you have a rocket that splits into three things? Like once it's in the there's a lot of interesting things that could be there.
Oh yeah, like multiple people kind of controlling different systems on one rocket and one spacecraft.
Yeah, maybe. Like a little like Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time style.
Yeah, I could see potentially.
Either way, however it goes. I mean, look, we do scrap mechanic multiplayer, and that works in a way. Like you can have that stuff integrated where you're doing one vehicle or multiple vehicles. Either way, I think it'll be cool. And interstellar travel would be a really new and novel thing again for the Kerbal space program. So
yeah, I think I saw some people in stream chats say they're going to do like planetary colonies eventually or something like that.
Like base building on the planets.
Maybe. I hope I didn't imagine that.
That'd be neat. That they don't have they have colonies on their roadmap, but it doesn't say interstellar colonies.
Yes.
So I assume that would be a thing if you can get the pieces out there.
Here is a straight up screenshot of a moon base.
Moon base. That stuff could be cool. I've already watched Scott Manley do his stream, so I feel like I'm all the way back in it.
Saw some of his tweets about the performance of that build.
Yeah.
Seems like it was, he's not running it on the newest hardware, but it seems like it may be a little rough for him.
So I did run it on that 4080 and it ran you can watch the stream. It ran pretty well. Aside from, like, again, we re-entered atmosphere and never hit the ground, which was disconcerting. Kerbal Space Program 2, I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if I will go back into it quite yet. I mean, the thing is, when I do it, I kind of want to be playing it on hard mode. Like, I want it to be realistic for that sense of accomplishment. So if I can re-enter the atmosphere without burning up, it feels like I'm getting away with something, like that's part of the fun is like, oh my gosh, we forgot a heat shield, or you can't jump out at the last minute, or, those things. So yeah, I kind of want that stuff to be in. We'll see. Hopefully the development cycle is rapid. All right, Brad. Akka Arrh.
Oh boy.
Arrh. Akka Arrh.
Oh boy. Akka Arrh.
Akka Arrh.
Still feel like I'm pronouncing something wrong every time I say that. That's what we're going with, though. Akka Arrh is. We probably talked about this when Atari 50, the anniversary collection, came out. I never even heard of it until Atari 50, but it's like the legendary prototype Atari arcade game that they made like 3 cabinets for, put it into test. Everybody was like, this is way too fucking hard for the mainstream, and then they just kind of canceled it. And so Jeff Minter, I think we talked about this in news a few months ago, like Jeff Minter has had his kind of legal run-ins with Atari in the past, like there was maybe some not great blood there, but he's kind of made good with the new management there, and they contracted him to basically do his take on what Akka Arrh would have been. And it might be the most Minter-ass Jeff Minter game to date.
Oh man,
and that's saying a lot because
every
Jeff Minter game absolutely radiates Jeff Minter.
Yeah, I guess I should say that's excluding the VR version of Polybius, because being inside of nothing will ever be more Minter than being inside of a Minter game. If you've never played Polybius in VR, buckle the fuck up. Don't do drugs beforehand.
Or do. But prepare yourself accordingly.
You might have a bad trip, depending on what you do. So it's I'm trying to think how to describe it. It's kind of an overhead game. It is an arena sort of based thing, but you're not controlling a thing that moves around. You are a bullhead in the middle of the arena, because of course you're a bullhead, because it's Jeff Minter game. There are like enemies like flying into the arena, and you shoot bombs. You move a cursor around. You shoot bombs. It's almost this Missile Command style thing of, like you blow up a rocket Missile Command and like another explosion comes out of it. It's kind of that. You're trying to kill the most enemies with the fewest bombs. So you basically want to, every bomb has a radius, an explosion radius, and if you kill an enemy with that radius, they will also explode into the same size radius.
Okay.
So you're trying to like time the bombs that you're shooting out and place them properly.
Okay.
The more enemies that die off of one chain, the higher the score goes. And also you're racking up, like, it gets complicated fast. Like, every enemy you kill with bomb chains gives you bullets, and bullets can be fired without resetting your bomb chain. Every time you fire a bomb, it resets your kind of combo multiplier to 0.
Okay.
So you want to use as few bombs per level as humanly possible to keep your score up. Again, you're racking up bullets by killing enemies with bombs, because there are some enemies that can only be killed with bullets. And killing the enemies with bullets create more bomb explosions, so you can get more free bomb chains without screwing up your bomb combo, your bombo.
Bombo. Does it feel intuitive when you're playing it, or are you constantly kind of running math in your head?
Yes, okay. But in true Minter fashion, he's like constantly just throwing random text on the screen all over the place, and everything is flashing a bunch of colors constantly. Like everything. You can go into the menus and actually turn down sort of color activity. I forget what they call it, but it makes things flash less. I've also left out the part where there's a basement. Like,
okay,
we should play this on. We should play this a little bit on stream.
I would love to.
We have that grab bag coming up.
The Minter terminology is amazing. Occasionally, enemies will invade your basement and try to steal your health. And so,
Vinny, you know about this.
Yeah, like, they're always trying to steal my health.
You basically, I'm still not quite clear what the audio-visual cue is that enemies have invaded the basement. But when they're in there is how you take damage. So you have to hit a button and literally sort of fly through the main arena you're fighting in, and go into the sub-arena where you have to fight off the enemies that are trying to take your health out of the basement. And every time you do that, there's an air horn.
As there should be.
This game is it's a lot. It's kind of amazing. It might be a little too much. I haven't decided yet. But
what's up with Jeff Minter?
He's a good guy.
He's awesome, man. He's one of the coolest people in games. He just likes to hang out down the pub and have a pint and eat some curry and make some amazing trippy, multicolor, flashing light arcade games.
Like, the category I've always put him into is something like Alan Moore, but without the extreme crank bent.
Sure.
Like, he's a little bit of a crank, but not, like, only mostly in regards to Atari and working with them.
Yeah,
like, by and large, he's actually a pretty friendly, chill dude.
Yeah, I've never met him, but if you follow him on Twitter, he seems like a very, chill, gentle, friendly guy. Who knows? I don't know him personally, but he seems cool, and he lives in a very beautiful part of the world, it seems, and kind of in a very kind of agrarian sort of place. From the looks
when
of
I look up
things.
pictures of him, he's like always hugging a sheep or an alpaca or something.
Yes, that is that man's entire life.
Yeah,
and I don't mean that in a derogatory way.
He seems like he probably leads a pretty, I don't know, I shouldn't say peaceful life because I have no idea what he's got going on, but like the scenery and stuff like that,
Well, the thing in the interview that just ran with him recently is that like his only real beef is that like he just wishes he didn't have to keep making games to make money. He would rather just make his little projects and not have to worry about that stuff.
Dude, fucking preach.
Yeah.
Is that the Polygon interview?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that. I have to read that.
I was just looking through that. I was going to read a quote here because, Brad, you mentioned before his kind of Atari whole debacle.
This headline is amazing. The Wizard of Gaming Psychedelia is back on his bullshit.
Yep.
Is how this interview is titled.
Here's what he says about the whole Tempest 2000 thing. He says, I made one of the best-selling games on the Jaguar, and by way of reward, Atari changed the game just enough to cut me out of any royalties, then released it on a much more successful platform under a different name. Minter laughs ruefully. I actually spoke to the programmer several years later, and he told me he'd been specifically instructed to change it just enough to, quote, reduce the royalty burden.
Wow.
Now isn't that lovely?
That's fucking terrible. I had no idea about that.
That's
really just shameful.
It's pretty spectacular.
Anyway, yeah, there's probably been like 18 changing of the guards at Atari since that happened, so he's obviously cool with whoever's running it now. In fact, the credits page for this is something I would like to show you because one of the better credits pages I've seen in a video game. I will read this interview later for sure, but this pull quote at the bottom says everything. It's just me dicking about.
Yeah,
as it should be.
I think that's his philosophy for if you can just make cool games and like live on or near a farm and just hang out in nature and stuff. That's probably pretty good.
Jeff Minter.
That said, fully get the whole like, man, I would love to work on stuff and not worry about if it makes money or not.
I mean, of course.
Who wouldn't?
Of course. Where do you know where he is?
He's in the UK.
Somewhere in Wales, I believe.
Okay.
I think it's in Wales, but definitely in the UK.
All right. Maybe we'll look at some Akka Arrh on this week's grab bag.
What is it? It's like $25 or something.
I think $20 when I looked it up.
20.
Before
okay.
The show.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. It's a lot to take in.
Another game that maybe is a lot to take in that was just shown more at the State of Play is Humanity, and you played the demo?
Yes, there's a demo of Humanity out. I know, like all the outlets I saw were saying like, "Oh, Enhanced unveils their new project Humanity," but they actually announced it like 2 years ago.
Yeah, this thing's been kicking around for a while.
They just haven't shown much of it since the announcement until now. Also, Enhanced is Mizuguchi's new studio that did Res Infinite and Tetris Effect.
It's not even that new anymore.
Yeah, not new, but it's his most recent studio.
His current ongoing concern.
Yeah, this game is credited to a different developer, though, so this might be more of a publishing arrangement or like a code development sort of thing with Enhance. I'm not sure, but you're a dog. You're a ghostly, ethereal dog.
Yes, I am.
Who might as well be, but it's like a talking dog. Apparently, you were a human. There's a whole preamble, even though this is basically a puzzle game. It's kind of half Lemmings and half like a PS1, PS2 era puzzle game, like an Intelligent Cube or something like that, because it's on kind of a grid. Is basically how I would describe it. You're this dog, but the dog is kind of basically a cursor, because you do jump, but otherwise the dog might as well just be like, here's the thing you run around to place commands and like stuff like that. But every level has a goal, and on the other end there is like a person emitter, out of which like thousands and thousands of mindless human beings are pouring. And they just walk in a straight line until you use the dog to give them commands to turn here. Like all the turns are 90 degrees, and it's like the levels are all tile based, so it's very easy to just like say like, okay, 3 spaces from here, I need to make them turn left. 2 more after that, they're gonna have to turn right. That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not super deep in. I've gotten a few other abilities. I've gotten 2 different types of leaps. I can say like I can place commands, and it can be either like do a short leap here or a long leap here.
And those commands will stick so that the entire chain of humans will do that leap. Okay.
So it's lemmings in the sense that there's this huge chain of kind of mindless things you have to guide around, but it's not lemmings in the sense that you're penalized if they fall off. Like I had to get used to that very quickly.
Okay.
Because you're going to lose, you're going to murder, or you're going to let thousands of people fall to their death in this game. Like it seems inevitable that on pretty much every level, as you figure it out, like people are just going to be falling to their death left and right. There are these golden idols that as the crowd walks through them, they'll attach to the crowd. And those are critical, or they're like bonus, I think. To finish a level, you just need to get some number of people into the goal. And it doesn't actually tell you how many, which is a little weird. But if you get those golden idols to follow the crowd and don't let them die, then you get like extra, their bonus objectives or whatever. And you can only put 1 command per tile is the other thing. You can't say like turn and jump here. You have to replace one with the other. So they're definitely very quickly gets into this like economy of commands of like, oh, I've only got so many spaces to work with here. I've got to figure out how to do this efficiently and make this work. It's cool. It's pretty neat. Oh, also the dog can possess a person and then like basically just swim through the people.
Oh, to what
end?
Like
you can just to get around faster.
Okay.
Oh, or actually also there are surfaces that humans can climb. The dog has a very high jump. It's like a comically high jump. But there are still platforms the dog can't reach on its own. And people can just climb up climbable surfaces, so you can just sort of like possess a person and then sort of swim up the river of people climbing this wall to get to the top. It's a weird game.
It's a really striking visual.
Yeah. It looks, especially as you're playing it and just seeing these like floods of people that kind of move almost in a fluid-like way. It's pretty neat, actually. And the thing I was going to say earlier, like the point about like VR being a thing you turn to, not your primary thing. So this has, even the demo has VR support, and the level design is pretty ornate. Like you very quickly get to the point where it's like, oh, there's like 2 or 3 paths over and through each other, and it's kind of hard on a 2D screen to see exactly where each one's going. So getting into VR, it was like, oh, now I've got depth to work with here, and now it's like there are three paths between me and where the people are, but because I can see the depth, I can, or even like peer around them, it's a lot easier to get a sense of how the levels are constructed and kind of figure out how to solve them faster.
Interesting. So you found it maybe adds a little.
It's actually a little more playable in VR. Also, it's just got they should have. If there's still time, this is coming out in May. They just announced if you're listening, Enhance, if you can add a tilt shift filter to the VR version. Well, would that work? Is that weird? Is tilt shift is tilt shift just an effect of 2D?
No.
Optics, or would that work?
They could do that foveated rendering and incorporate it with some of the tilt shift.
I know they could do that. What I mean is, like, could you recreate tilt shift with 3D optics, or is that one of those things like I don't know lenses and optical physics well at all, but I wonder if that's one of those things that's like, oh, you wouldn't actually get tilt shift from a 3D camera.
No, I think you're just basically dropping. It's like you're looking through a macro lens, and the depth of field is so shallow that everything an inch behind it is thrown. It's like you've zoomed in so much, you've opened that aperture so much, and let so much light through that because you got to zoom in that it's just tiny. Like it would make everything look very small.
Right. Yeah. So it kind of does in VR. It kind of has. It takes on the look of like a miniature in front of you, kind of with these tiny little people running around. So it would be really cool to make it go all the way with that.
It's neat. I want to try it out.
It's cool, and like amazingly generously, the level editor is just in the demo, and like
really?
The interface for people to upload levels is active. Like you can just get this demo and start downloading people's user-made levels right now and playing them. It's not just the story mode demos in here, or levels in here in the demo.
See, this is great because like that, what is it, that Wolong demo that's out there, like your progress in that demo will apparently carry over into the final game. That. Like giving people access to this kind of stuff and letting it actually be meaningful in the final game, I feel like is a really great way to demo this kind of stuff and not have it feel like a waste of time.
Yeah, I know demos are a lot of extra work for developers, but it's kind of awesome to see stuff like this. Also, this demo's out on Steam as well, and in fact, you can share levels between platforms. I played it on PS5.
Okay.
It's cool. I didn't really know what that game was before they showed it last week and put this demo out, but I'm pretty into it. It's kind of tricky. Like I'm not too many levels into that demo, and I got stuck not knowing how to. There's one other mechanic. There are switches that only activate as people are flowing across them.
Okay.
And you've only got one flood of people, and some of those switches like create the bridges that you need to get to the exit. And so the level I'm on right now, it's like, okay, I need people to be walking across these switches to activate the bridge that other people need to walk across to get to the goal. I'm not sure how to make both of those things happen at once. So like, it's pretty tricky. It's cool. I want to play the full version. It's neat.
Like you said, May, which is not far away now.
Yeah.
Moving on here to just a quick check-in with the old Dead Space. I continue to come back to Dead Space as the game I just want to keep playing while I'm going through everything else. Like, I played enough of this other game. I'm going to go back to Dead Space for a while. I'm still enjoying it. It's I have my, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Tier 3 suit and Tier 3 security clearance now. So now I can scoop up, especially with the security clearance. I think there's only one more that's like master security clearance I've seen on stuff. So now I'm trying to, there's basically one side mission that I have, and it's like, get all these rigs from everybody, right? Explore every area of the map and get all the rigs.
I've got that one too. That's a neat little side thing that they put in. I think the master unlock is like a pretty late game, sort of end game type thing.
So I had gotten frustrated with doing that side mission because a bunch of them are behind level 3 security doors or security I didn't have. So I was like, I'm just going to wait until I'm pretty far along here. But now I'm there. Yeah, I like it. I got stuck at the same place I think I got stuck when I played Dead Space, which was, I don't know if you remember this, but it's the part with the big trash beam. It's it's like this incinerator beam that is shooting out, and it's like, oh, you can't turn gravity back on because there are floating asteroids in this thing. You got to throw the asteroids into the beam, and then as soon as you turn the switch on, like a million enemies pour out at you on these little walkways. And it took me a couple of tries until I just basically, and this has been my whole time with Dead Space, do the right combination of enemy management. Who should I stasis? Who should I take out first? What legs need to go off first? A question I had for you, Brad, was the guys that explode with the little the carriers, the bloaters,
little creepy crawlies come out of them.
Yeah, like if you knock off enough limbs to kill it, it does not explode. Is that how that works?
I don't know. Actually, I feel like an idiot here. I'm so trained in games like zombie games have trained me so much that when the bloated zombie comes out, you shoot it in the bloated part. That's what I do to those things every time I see one.
So I definitely
the shoot their limbs off part of my brain just turns off when I see those things. So like I don't know the answer.
Because I've definitely had it a couple of times where I will still try to knock them to the ground so they slow down, and they'll be like, all right, let me shoot a limb or something, and then they'll just die and not explode. And because those little things suck, man.
Yeah, yes, that's kind of the only reason I have the flamethrower most of the time.
Yes. I'm running with a flamethrower, the plasma cutter, which is basically the thing I've been upgrading, the pulse rifle, I think that's what they call it, which is also the thing I've been upgrading a little bit. And I really enjoy the force gun. Have you used the force gun?
I've got I don't think I have the force gun. I have the last two weapons I got are the line gun and the contact beam.
Okay. The force gun might be my favorite thing in the game because I don't remember this from the first one, and this might be a thing they added. It just blows the skin off of everything.
Wow.
And so you just will shoot a thing and it just turns into this stickly red.
Wow.
It doesn't necessarily take their limbs off on the first hit, but they just turn into meat. Where their skin just blows off of them. So
I've noticed that happens to individual limbs when you shoot them.
Yeah,
if you're pretty close, you can see that. There's actually a trophy for stasising, like yanking I don't remember what the term is, but you can kind of damage a limb down where it looks like meat like that, and then apparently you can use like the stasis grip thing to like yank the limb off.
Okay.
So I'm guessing that's like maybe doing that to the entire enemy all at once or something.
So I think it's shredding that first layer, and it's like it's pretty disturbing, but also kind of a little comical because they're just like they look naked, like ha.
Yeah. I'm looking it up on the old How Long to Beat right now because it feels longer than I remember the original game being, but I don't know if that's just because I'm being more meticulous, and I've backtracked a lot. Like every time I get a security clearance, I'm like, well, I guess I got to go back to medical and find all the level 2 stuff I missed.
I find they're pathing me through that stuff with the game.
I knew they would do that. I can't help myself. Like anytime there are
need that node.
Anytime there are upgrades within reach, I have to go for them. This says 12 hours main story. I'm at like 8 hours, and I'm not even halfway through the game.
I'm probably a little over 8, and I'm probably a little bit further than you are. Or did you do the?
Sorry, that's 12 hours for just main story. This does say with the side missions, it's more like 15, 27 hours to get everything. So that's if I am definitely getting everything. So that's about on pace for that. Sorry.
Did you turn the air back on yet?
No. So I have not played as much of this game as I would like because I hit a real shitty bug.
Oh no.
Where it wiped my security clearance.
Wait, what?
Like across all of my saves, not just like the most recent one, like all of them.
Wait, you can't play the game then?
Like I was in an area that had a level 2 security door in it, and I had actually done this like the night before and died. So I go back, I load it up again the next day, and I went back to that level 2 door, and it was just like, you do not have the valid security clearance. I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? Like, I opened this last night, checked my menu, sure enough, security level 0.
0?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I went back like 3 hours in saves and loaded up, and still 0. So I Googled around, there's like a small number of people on Reddit that I've posted about the same issue. I didn't think to check at the time, but like people that were having that bug said that their side quest log was also being wiped along with that. So
what do you do? What's the resolution?
I stopped playing Dead Space.
Oh man!
I mean, hopefully at some point they'll patch it, but
it took a patch this morning, and I loaded it up, and it still hadn't resolved. But then I rebooted the PS5. So I should say force quitting the game was not enough to fix it. Like firing the game back up and reloading, it was still there. Hard rebooting the PS5 and then restarting the game, it actually had it resolved this morning. So
okay, oh, that's good to hear because that would
I was just like,
that's the end of it. Then.
I mean, I think I'm pretty sure there are story parts where you can't get past without security stuff.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I think that's some of the story gating in the game.
Yeah, so. There are not a lot of people. It was like 5 people I found on Reddit saying they had run into this, all on PS5 from what I saw.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Also, right before that happened, the game had failed to like load Isaac in, like he was invisible.
Okay, so you're having some issues.
So it was basically like playing the game in first person mode for a little bit. Okay. And then I was like, oh, that's funny, whatever. I'll just reload my save now, and that's when I reloaded, and I was like, oh. Anyway, I hope the fix sticks. It looks like it fixed itself this morning.
I'm enjoying it. I like
it. It's awesome.
Yeah,
it's great. I remain very impressed with the dynamic kind of random stuff that they're doing, like both enemy spawns and kind of just set dressing environment stuff. Like the times they're just willing to turn all the lights off is cool, and they'll do it even in like storage rooms where enemies can't even spawn,
Yeah.
But it's still creepy as hell when you're in there. It's like you unlock a security door. It's just a closet with 5 chests in it, but still it's pitch black in there. And it's like, fuck, man. And then you'll be in there for 3 minutes looting, and right before you leave, the lights will flicker back on, and you come back later and the lights are just on, It seems like something as simple as like randomly turning lights on and off, like adds so much atmosphere.
Yeah, it makes it feel lived in, like a functioning or malfunctioning space.
And it kind of raises my hackles because you don't know what to expect, like you're kind of always on your toes because like shit, they might just spawn more shit in here. Mm-hmm. Like, do you remember that room with a bunch of electrified flooring?
Mm-hmm.
Did you like open that door and just go in there, like walk right in?
I don't remember exactly. I mean, I definitely didn't step on the panels.
So, so unless this was bug related, which I assume not, because this game does stuff like this, like I opened that door and it's a huge room and like half of it is electrified, and I was like, oh shit, I don't want to just charge in here.
Yeah.
So I kind of backed away from the door, and it immediately spawned like 3 necromorphs into that room, like right in front of me, to the point that I was like, holy fuck, I like ran away from the door so it would close fast enough that they couldn't get me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's a tiny little hallway that leads up to that room. And as soon as I had done that and backed away from the door and it closed and it was like, oh, well, good, they can't get through the door, they fucking dropped another one out of the ceiling right on top of me.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's a bummer.
Like, so I did that like 3 times where I opened the door and like started, like it didn't actually kind of cross the boundary. I sort of backed away and they kept spawning them. Finally, I was like, all right, I should just run in there. So then I opened the door on that reload and ran in there and there was nothing, like no enemies. And so it really made me wonder if like, did they set up triggers for like, hey, if somebody is too timid, we're going to fuck with them? I don't know. I could be reading way too much into the experience, but it seemed like it was like, okay, if you're not going to approach this with some boldness, then we're going to like punish you for it by dropping a bunch of extra enemies. Like, it could be some weird spawn behavior that was not intentional. I don't know, but that's kind of how it came off at the time.
Mm-hmm. I've definitely run into triggers of repeatable triggers where, like that room I was just talking about. Initially, my initial reaction is sprint away from, you're on this platform, it's very narrow, and there are enemies coming at you from both sides, right? So, and they're pouring in. So I was like, okay, let me get to a corner where I can hold them off, where I'm not fighting 2 fronts. And so for the first 3 or 4 times I tried it, I'd run through, but I kept triggering more enemies by doing that. And the time I wound up beating it, I just stayed still. And after I killed the first wave, the next wave didn't trigger until I walked to the trigger point, and then more enemies came. And I was like, oh, okay. I was just hitting the invisible tripwire boxes that was making. So there are definitely situations. But that being said, I've had encounters I've done a couple of times where I've gotten different amounts of enemies in the room. I can't. My only beef with it is it's not like a design flaw or anything. It's very intentional. It's like I have trouble seeing some of the enemies a lot. It's very dark in places, and especially in the 0G places. Yeah. And enemies are really tough to. And the ones that shoot projectiles, I have to wait for them to shoot often to track where the projectile came from to spot them. It's just hard.
Or the ones that launch themselves at you in 0G, are pretty hard to see from a distance until they're coming right at you. That's
tough, and it's a game of low health, and like I don't like having to like wait when I hear a thing in there, and like I'm just spinning around being like, where is this thing? I'm just gonna get hit. Can be a little tough, but that force gun, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I gotta see that. It's fantastic. It's really cool. Especially after having played Callisto so recently, and like I redid enough encounters in that game to tell you that those are static as hell. Like same enemies, same configuration every time, pretty much.
I'm trying to remember where this whole thing. I know at least 1 or 2 more zones I need to get to. So, did you do the asteroid part?
I was on my way to do that, or I'm kind of in all the stuff you do, sort of leading up to that part. Is when it broke.
Curious to hear what your thoughts are on the kind of reimagining of that part too. Of course, what would it be without just mentioning Hitman Freelancer mode? You can tune. I haven't played much more than we did on Monday, but I'm excited to get back in there and jump in on that new graphics card and try it out. That mode's still a lot of fun. So that's the other thing. If Dead Space weren't the thing I'm trying to wrap up, I'd probably be spending more time on Hitman Freelancer.
Hell of a mode. Game of the year.
Hell of a Just call
it might be.
Now. It's possible.
I mean, it does feel like the ultimate expression of Hitman to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever, the story kills are a totally separate thing. They're their own thing. But this being randomized really throws you into situations of just like, man, I got to think my way through this. Like, I've really got to engage with the mechanics of this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And not just rely on this weird, like, scripted runway kill or whatever.
It has taught me so much more about Hitman than I ever thought I needed to know.
Like, I have to play this as a stealth game now.
Or not. Just take your, you could try to hide behind a thing and see how many bullets you got. That probably won't work out well, but, you could try. That's going to do it for the games for this week. That's a grip of games going out there. And they're going to keep coming as we roll into the rest of March here. I was just bringing up to see what is coming up in March. That Clash, that Ace Team game.
Yeah, the new Ace Team, the like Xenoclash set, Souls-like.
Yeah.
Xenoclash Souls-like is like too powerful a phrase.
It really is.
To utter out loud.
And then at the end of the month is that crime boss, Raquel City.
Yes.
And then Resident Evil 4 is on its way.
Yes, as much as there are maybe other games in that series I would have picked for a remake, because I still think 4 is a great game. Very excited to play that, coming off of these other, just an embarrassment of survival horror riches lately.
It's true. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about the news. Stick around. This week's show is brought to you by Bespoke Post. You guys know Bespoke Post, Alex and Brad.
Heck yeah, I do. They send me stuff every month.
Yeah.
Oh, not stuff. The box of awesome.
I was getting to that. I was going to say the stuff was awesome.
So sometimes the stuff has blades attached to it.
Sometimes.
Or, sometimes fire is involved.
Sometimes it's scented, sometimes there's fire. Alex, you've got a box of awesome in front of you.
Indeed I do.
What's in your box of awesome? What's in the box?
Well, this is actually the box they sent me last month. This is a thing called a Flicker Fire. It is a personal fireplace. It's a little stone you put in your table, and then you can just put some liquid in there. I'm opening the box. You can hear me doing this. Look at this. Look at this thing.
Oh, well, they can't see you, but I can look at it. Wow, that is just
I'm telling you to look at it. I'm not telling the people at home. They can go on the website and look at it if they want to.
It's a stone cylinder with a hole cut in the middle of it, and I'm looking at the website. It quite literally burns straight up isopropyl alcohol that you can buy at the drugstore.
Jeez, can you roast marshmallows in that thing?
I think that's maybe an intended use kit. They straight up show a marshmallow roasting over the fire on this. If anybody at Bespoke Post is listening, please send me one of these.
Every unique item is hand-curated from a small business that you would probably never have heard of otherwise. From cozy essentials to travel must-haves and cocktail kits, the Box of Awesome has everything you need. To get started, take the quiz at boxofawesome.com. Your answers will help them pick the right Box of Awesome for you. It's free to sign up, and you can skip a month or cancel anytime. Get 20% off your first monthly box when you sign up at boxofawesome.com and enter the code NEXTLANDER at checkout. That's boxofawesome.com, code NEXTLANDER for 20% off your first Box of Awesome. Boxofawesome.com, code NEXTLANDER. Thanks, Bespoke Post. And we're back in time for the news. The news. Of course, as we lead up into the summer, we've got news about releases, but also news about covering those releases. The biggest game show in town.
That's right, us. This podcast.
Hell yeah.
Nextlander.
You mean E3.
E3, we of course have E3. If it's not Microsoft Blizzard news, it's E3 news. Brad Shoemaker.
That's right.
What's going on?
We're here with news you can use if you're people like us trying to decide if you should go to E3 or not. Nintendo has made it official.
Okay.
They're not going to E3. IGN had reported that rumor 2-3 weeks ago or something.
Was it even
maybe a month ago?
Yeah.
Nintendo has now given a statement to IGN. We approach our involvement in any event on a case-by-case basis and are always considering various ways to engage with our fans. Since this year's E3 show didn't fit into our plans, we have made the decision to not participate. However, we have been and continue to be a strong supporter of the ESA and E3. Yes, I bet you are.
Confirmed.
Yeah. Obviously they didn't say anything about why.
They've got plans. They were double booked.
Actually, I take it back. Like, saying didn't fit into our plans is actually kind of saying something.
No,
it's pretty generic, but like,
that's like saying I gotta leave. I gotta let the dog out.
Right. Well, what I mean though is like, I don't feel like Nintendo's got a lot announced. Like, Advance Wars and Zelda are both going to be out before E3.
Right.
Like, they do have some other stuff on the books, but nothing huge. Except for Metroid Prime 4, which, like, who knows if that's ever going to be a real game or not. Like, maybe they actually wouldn't have had a lot to show, Like, maybe maybe they didn't have the lineup to justify the spend
The thing is, though, Zelda is the kind of thing that you could definitely carry an entire show appearance on if you felt really committed to the value of that
it'll
show.
be out by then, though, so, it's coming out in May.
Yeah,
so.
But people would still want to see it, and,
I don't know. I mean, in the old days, if we just have a booth we need to fill out and there's going to be a bunch of buyers here or whatever, sure.
They did the what? They did Breath of the Wild had the fully done booth that time, right?
Yeah, but that was June before a March release, so there was a good window there.
I'm not saying there's not a difference. It's just that you could have a big Zelda presence and then also fill it out with your smaller Switch releases if you had enough of those to make it into a thing.
For a booth, yes. For a press conference-y thing,
maybe not so much.
You got to bring a line up, and I don't know what they've got.
Well, they've also been pretty consistent with having stuff on their directs. So stuff has less of an impact when they're filling it out throughout the year. That's
the other thing is do they actually need E3? Absolutely not.
No unless they were doing hardware, which they're not. So if they were launching, if they had an announced hardware they want to launch, I feel like they wouldn't even announce hardware at an E3 anymore. But if I
remember the way they announced the Switch was bizarre. It was 2 months before it came out, and it was just here's a YouTube video with our new console in it.
Yeah.
I very just vividly remember that day. I think it was the morning of a bombcast. It happened right before it or something, and it was just I guess there's a new Nintendo console to talk about now. It was just not the fanfare you would expect for something. But also, why wouldn't they just do that? They're going to dominate the entire video game news cycle with that news, no matter how they put it out there. So
the other kind of piece of, or the interesting bit, I was just going to say piece of a puzzle, but it's not really a puzzle. They'll probably have. Well, I don't know. What have they been doing at TGS? Do they?
I don't know. I've kind of lost track of TGS.
Same here.
My understanding is that that's usually where Sony dumps all their stuff, but Nintendo does not have a huge presence there.
That may be that actually may be the case. They may not participate in TGS. They're waiting for Space World, of course.
Yeah, Space World.
We all are. We've all been waiting for Space World.
Shoshinkai is coming back.
Gamescom? Are they?
I don't think they do much at Gamescom either. I think they're kind of all in on directs and stuff now. The only other thing that comes to mind is maybe they did not find the terms of the ESA appealing for this thing in terms of what it would cost and what they were going to get out of that. I don't know.
This news is out of the three, Nintendo feels like they were the first ones to kind of roll back on their press conference stuff and So they were the first ones to stop doing the live event, but then Sony kind of one-upped them and just stopped showing up, period. Yeah, right.
So Nintendo was kind of a question mark. Sony, it's okay, they already pulled out of E3 once. You can kind of pretty easily see them not coming back to this. But maybe Nintendo will be there, but no.
I'll say this for Nintendo. When they have hardware, they do need people to try it because their hardware is so damn weird. So they always need physically to have people there. It's not like they can just demo a game like Sony and Microsoft and be like, you know what a DualShock is. You need to be like, here's this weird, check out milking a cow, or try out all these weird things, press people.
Yeah.
We need to have you here.
Repeatedly, there's been the experience of going to E3 and getting there 2 days before the show and seeing if you knew anybody that rated going to the early Nintendo event to see their new stuff 2 days before the show that they couldn't come out and talk about directly afterwards. But it's okay, it's mostly major newspaper people and people at the biggest sites. It's oh man, they got to use it. They got to touch that new controller. What's it like?
Right. Or see the 3D,
right.
Or whatever it is, or build a Labo. Some of their stuff is pretty physical. So we'll see what happens, but it doesn't sound like they have any of that to show this year. So maybe it doesn't fit into their plans.
At the same time, though, I feel like they could come out and just say, hey, it's a new Switch. It's just like the old one, except it's 8 times faster. And people will be fucking, I'm going to climb over my mother to give you 2 fistfuls of money for this thing.
Accurate.
I would probably do it as well. Not climb over my mom, but I would definitely be yes, this doesn't have to be exactly the same, but it couldn't run the games that I wanted to run, basically.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you would hope for improvements on the sticks and eliminating stick drift and stuff like that, but same basic concept of just Switch but better.
Yeah.
is like kind of all I want out of that.
Yeah. All right.
But anyway, does this not bode well for the new E3?
There's always Ubisoft.
No, there isn't.
Well, they'll be there if the E3 will have them, right?
If it's happening, they'll be there.
All right, Brad, you've got another story here about a confirmed release.
I guess it's confirmed. I don't think it's the way that poor Ed Boon. Poor Ed Boon. What was this person's position at?
I think it might be their CFO.
Warner Brothers Discovery is now the name of the company. Executive Vice President of Global Investor Strategy.
Okay.
Is the one who said on an earnings call with investors, there's lots more to come, including the highly anticipated Mortal Kombat 12 and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Games also set for release this year with ambitious launch projections.
I literally in the note here, I just wrote Market Combat.
So two things. One, I actually feel a little bit worse for the Suicide Squad devs, Rocksteady, now, because the people were picking apart that footage they got out there of that game recently of like all the like, here's all your gear menus and all the gear ratings and all that shit, and people just groaning endlessly at that stuff. Like,
well, especially in the wake of Gotham Knights.
Yeah. And Avengers and every other game that is trying to do this now. But yes, this is a sucky way to have the reveal that your game is coming out, but also I feel like everyone kind of knew that MK12 was at least on the horizon, if not this year.
Probably. I mean, the main question was that studio's been flip-flopping for quite a while now. You know, they would do MK and then basically a DC game generally, right? And then another MK. Like, it was kind of back and forth between MK and Injustice for a long time. So it was, they did MK11 and it was like, okay, are they going to go right back, or are they going to do another Injustice or maybe something else?
I just feel like the appetite for Injustice has kind of dissipated, which isn't to say those games were bad. They're not. I enjoyed them okay, but I feel like coming off MK11 especially, there was a lot of momentum there. I could see them being like, let's amazing. Get on to the next one.
Like, I do have to say really fast, like right after this happened, Ed Boon was out there on Twitter. So, who's heard the news about Injustice 3? I feel for...
Listen, MK is a big enough splash, and I think you're right. You both are right, where it's got enough heat behind it where this could have been a really fun thing to announce and build.
Yes.
Ed Boon likes a tease as well. He's out there.
There are much better ways to do this
than an earnings call or marketing pitch. But in terms of Injustice, I wonder if they'll hold off on Injustice until they lock in their whole new DC verse to get the likenesses in an Injustice.
It's possible.
So the characters and the voices are the same people that are represented on, though maybe that adds a whole other wrinkle because maybe they don't want the actors and actresses that are playing those characters don't want to be in that kind of fighting game where they're, like, hey, I don't want to be seen beating up people, kind of like sometimes cars don't want to get damaged kind of thing. I don't know what those contracts are like.
Yes. I'm trying to think.
That was kind of why Injustice also lived in its own little sub-universe and wasn't just like, here is your mainline DC story. Like, it was its own thing.
Street Fighter, the movie, the game exists. It's been done before. What was I going to say about this? MK11 is so damn good.
It is.
Like, I kind of I get the idea of MK11 was so good we need to follow it up, but also it was so good that I have no idea how to follow it up. Like,
I don't know. What is it MK12? Is it a reboot again?
I am comfortable saying, knowing full well there are a lot of fighting game story modes I have never played. Like, it's the best fighting game story mode ever made. Like, that story and the way it's implemented is so goddamn incredible.
Yeah.
Like, it's the perfect part of this is just me. Like, they went to the nostalgia well so hard on that one. Like, they can't do it again, Like, they did the MK 1 through 3 callback, like, time travel. Here are your old favorites, and then their old versions kind of teaming up, and here are all the backgrounds you love, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, that's part of why that game was so great for me, and they can't do that again, so I don't know what they do.
But the story does leave like them a wide open door to do literally anything.
They quite literally unmade. I never played that DLC that came out. I should go play that story mode.
It's just a continuation. It doesn't really change where the main story left off.
Like they pretty much like unmake the universe in that game, so they quite literally can make the next game whatever.
And
they
Liu
want.
Kang is essentially a time god now.
He's God. Yeah, Liu Kang becomes God, which it's about time.
Yeah.
But the other thing with nostalgia play is they did the crypt in that game is literally just you running around Mortal Kombat Island. Like they literally are just sticking electrodes right into the brains of anybody who loved 90s arcade MK.
That's one
thing. They can't
thing,
do that again either.
That's one thing I hope they actually do revamp a little bit. I like the crypt as a concept, but that thing was unwieldy after a point. Like constantly having to run through that thing was not that much fun after a while.
It's incredibly arcane, like just trying to figure out, and it's like kind of cool in a way that they hide so many weird secrets in there. It's like, oh man, like there's like a meteor just hit and I just got this shard of like green glass out of it. What do I do? What do I plug that into? It's almost like a weird adventure puzzle game thing. But yeah, it's like you got to look up so much stuff to like even figure out what to do in there.
Yeah.
But just modeling, building out that environment and letting you just run around that island.
Oh, that's great.
Close up was so damn cool.
I mean, it's what made Shaolin Monk so much fun was the idea of like actually creating an adventure within those spaces that obviously the Mortal Kombat mythology game did not do.
So they burned all of their kind of nostalgia capital on 11 already, so I don't know. I hope they have cool ideas for 12, but I just have no idea where it's going to go.
I feel like the bigger thing for them, though, is that, and I mean, like, this is just a personal opinion and just my perception of it, but as good as the story stuff in those games have been, and as well as they play, they are great playing games. I feel like the modern Mortal Kombats, their shelf life in the competitive scene, I feel like, has gotten shorter and shorter with each release. And I'm not really exactly sure why that is, if it's just people deciding to move on after a certain point, be like, nah, I'm going to focus on this game. But, like, I feel like it's time in, let's just say, the EVO main stage. Those games feel like they get pushed further and further down the card faster. And I don't really know why exactly that is, but it feels like that's where it's kind of been trending. And I wonder if they're going to try and maybe make the focus just trying to come up with, like, ways to keep these games more, like, the longevity more available. I don't know.
It always felt like maybe about a year that I would see the latest MK talked about in a competitive sense, and then it would kind of fall off of my feed.
Yeah. And it's like they're also coming out, if it does come out this year, which it sounds like it will, they're running into a rough year because Street Fighter 6 has a lot of good buzz. Yeah. Tekken might hit this year.
What if it's Street Fighter Cross MK? It's the only way they can do it.
Warner Brothers ain't that hard up yet. And that's not a diss on either company. I'm just saying. Yeah. I'm saying that like Warner Brothers is going to be weird about that until they need the money.
I don't know. I like Mortal Kombat not as much as you, Brad. I know that I don't have that nostalgia for it. Like I was never very good at it, but I really like the narrative stuff it was doing. So for me, it's like, how do you make people happy? Because when they added new characters, like around 5 or something, like I don't know, the new class.
4 and 5 is where they started adding a bunch of new characters.
Yeah, well, to be fair, they added a lot to 3, but 1 to 3 is still considered kind of like one continuity. I mean, so is 4 technically, but also like put it this way, 4 is where like Quan Chi and
people didn't love it, right?
and so forth showed up. Like that was the first point where they started putting in characters that people were not super stoked about.
So I don't know, like, does Mortal Kombat 12 have Scorpion in it? And when yes is the answer, is that like a teaser or is Scorpion like a playable character out of the gate? Like, do you have a whole new roster?
Are you just straight up hiring fucking Hiroyuki Sanada from the most recent Mortal Kombat movie and doing the DC Universe thing, but for Mortal Kombat now? Like all the movie actors are now the characters.
Are they doing a sequel to that movie?
I have not heard of one actually being in production yet.
When I Google the words Mortal Kombat movie sequel, the first thing I get is Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
They don't want to do that again. I know that.
Not the sequel you want.
No.
What if they did, was it New Nightmare where they're making the Freddy Krueger movie?
Yes.
Okay, what if they do that for Mortal Kombat where they're making...
That's like kind of an interesting angle.
Yeah, like they're trying to make this thing and, somehow there's actual Mortal Kombat happening.
I mean, just giving this version of Johnny Cage like more of a platform for assholery is definitely a valid direction.
And more like, meta iterations of him.
The current depiction of Johnny Cage is just incredible.
He's not even in that movie, I don't think.
Yeah, I believe that's the case.
I don't remember him being in there.
I believe they are doing a sequel to that movie.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a tie-in.
I thought it did okay. I wasn't sure if they had actually gotten to that stage yet or not.
Okay, since they kind of wrapped up the story in 11, what if Mortal Kombat 12, you see the Mortal Kombat logo, right? It's like Mortal MK 12, and then they put a little ampersand between the 1 and the 2, and they're rebooting 1 and 2 with they just start over again. I mean, that's the thing, they already rebooted it. I guess you can't do that.
They can't. Yeah. Like 9 already was kind of that.
I mean, 9 was the played completely straight nostalgia play. So 11 was the one that like looped the nostalgia back on itself.
Yes. 11 is the like meta twist kind of version of like 9 was just sort of a retelling. So actually, now that you mention it, and like 10 or X or however you want to refer to it is kind of the weakest of the 3 to me.
Yeah, that's the one they threw the combat kids in for.
Yeah. And like they made good on a lot of those characters in 11. But 10 I didn't love the story as much. And 11's also the one I enjoyed playing the most. Like I spent a good couple months after it came out online, like playing it online and having a pretty good time.
I'm trying to rephrase this in my brain, but I'm just going to say it the way it was originally going to come out. Yes, 9 and 11 are great. 9/11's great. Yeah. Take that shit out of context.
Inside jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So 2023 along with Street Fighter and possibly Tekken.
Yeah, man, what a
banger year for fighting games that these all hit.
Tekken says 2024 right now. I don't know, that could change.
It could be fiscal is the thing. Like it might end up in like early next year, but
all we need to know, I feel like as soon as they announce one character, we will kind of know what's going on with Mortal Kombat 12. Like, if it's a picture of Sub-Zero or Scorpion, we kind of know what's going on. If it's a picture of a whole new character and a whole new art style, we probably know that they're going to be trying to refocus somewhere. So, Ed Boon is on Twitter a lot. Let's see what happens.
I feel so bad for him. His mentions are an absolute trash fire.
They always are.
People just screaming at him about their favorite character not being in the game constantly.
That has been his existence on social media for at least a decade.
Like I remember him tweeting something about Purple Rain at one point. I think it was like when Prince passed or maybe on the anniversary or something, and like it just saw a bunch of replies from people just like, "You're adding Rain to the game finally?" Like fucking oh my god, man. Just let the man like some music for a minute, please.
Somebody has absolutely already messaged him that they have a Mortal Kombat 12 tattoo on their calf or something. It's oh my gosh, I just got this today, and Ed Boon has probably retweeted it and been like, awesome, that's great. Mortal Kombat 12, stay tuned. Mortal Kombat, not the only video game out there getting. This is not a good segue. Not the only video game out there.
Oh,
Elden Ring is also a very popular video game. Brad, why would I possibly be talking about my game of the year, Elden Ring?
There's DLC coming. It's kind of all there is to say about it is they announced the name, which is Shadow of the Erdtree.
Sure.
Any thoughts on this piece of art they put out?
My hope for this is that you leave this realm and go somewhere else to where the I even forget what they're called, but the whatever you are, the group of people that were kind of exiled.
The Tarnished.
Tarnished, yes.
Tarnished, yes. In the lands between.
Yeah, I hope you leave this and go somewhere else. I doubt they're going to go that.
Well, isn't that how they usually do their DLCs, is adding new areas?
Yeah, but usually it's like you open a book and get something.
Well, yeah, yes. It's always you're just like warping there in some contrived way, but at least it's like new level design.
Yeah, I think, it's been a while, but there's that one character, Millennia's brother, I think, Malika. Boy, it's been a while since I have watched a lore video on Elden Ring. It's been a minute. But there's that the character that was in the egg in the cocoon. That'd be interesting to do stuff with. There's a lot of cool things. I still have my save post finishing, so I'm wondering if and when this DLC comes out. I assume it's a when. How they implement it. So like, can I just go back and read the book that warps me in, or find the secret layer?
Yeah, I think that's generally how they've handled things, right?
Yeah, like you can kind of get to it mid game. If you're starting from scratch, you usually have to go a little further into the game. But yeah, so we'll see. I'm sure there will be plenty of speculation.
Yeah,
not a no date, right?
No, like info at all about release,
except that they sold a bajillion copies.
Yes,
of Elden Ring.
Yeah, they passed 20 million sold. That's a
great
lot
game.
of copies.
It's a great game. Next up on here, we have the Sony State of Play. We got into a little bit of this while we were doing our grab bag stream. It was kind of happening about the same time that we were wrapping that thing up. So we saw a little bit of it live, but anything you guys want to call out from the Sony State of Play?
Not a ton. Some release dates, I feel like.
That was the main takeaway, I feel like.
Baldur's Gate 3 is out August 31st.
Hell yeah.
It's been in early access for like, what, 2-3 years now or something?
A while, for sure.
So it's not like you couldn't play it already, but it's finally coming out for reals.
I went to a Baldur's Gate 3 event in New York for Giant Bomb.
Like pre-pandemic?
It must have been pre-pandemic.
Yeah,
so
that's a while.
Yeah. That's how we measure time.
Yes. That game seems cool.
Hell yeah.
Larian seems to do very good work.
Yeah, I'm excited. I played some of the early access and then stopped because I was like, I'm going to play this when it comes out. So
yeah. Oh, right. I remember that quick look. Yes, it seemed a little rough at launch, but
yeah. It was okay. But like, are you going to play through this RPG if the stories and stuff change, or they respec your character?
Yeah. What else got a date? Humanity, we mentioned, is coming out in May, which is cool. Goodbye Volcano High, coming out in June.
That's the one with the furry teenagers.
It's Dinosaur High School.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know. Maybe there's a different term for people who are dinosonas versus fursonas, but you know what I mean.
I don't know. Anyway, that's coming out in June. They showed some Suicide Squad. Footage didn't do a ton for me.
No.
I don't think
they showed off the things that people are actually interested in, which is to say, can I just see what the moment-to-moment gameplay of this looks like?
Well, there are some clips of that in here.
But they're interspersed in a way that does not really give you a good flow feel for what it is.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's kind of a montage of short clips. It very much seems like this high-flying third-person shooter, though. Like, a lot of third-person shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's all very, like, madcap and meant to be played multiplayer, and, you know...
I mean, I'm not surprised by that because most of the Suicide Squad people over the years are, if not gun guys, then at least weapon guys.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. It's just maybe it's not fair of me to bring like Arkham expectations to this, but it's just like kind of not what I
don't think that's unfair.
That's not really what I liked about the Arkham games at all.
Yeah, like I don't think that's unfair at all, considering that's what Rocksteady was making until they made this.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't know. Do you guys have any affinity for these characters?
I was never a big DC guy. Like, I liked some DC characters, and mostly it was Batman related, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't really feel much about these characters or how they're being portrayed here, but like, Rocksteady has made me interested in stuff that I necessarily didn't, I like Batman. I didn't love Batman, but I did love at least those first couple of Batman games. I could see myself loving what they do here. I just haven't seen anything in it yet that has like really got me excited about it.
Yeah, kind of same here. Like, I think I have more faith in the developer than the property. Like, I don't. Like, I think I like Rocksteady stuff more than I like DC stuff necessarily. But I mean, I know who Harley Quinn is.
Yeah, we all do.
There's the shark guy.
I'm rewatching Batman the animated series right now.
Okay. then you know everybody.
Yeah.
As we've mentioned, this will be Kevin Conroy's final performance.
See, that there is something that is like appealing to me, but I also know that Batman is just going to be a chunk of that game and not really the focus.
Yeah, like, I don't know, maybe the evil DC superhero stuff could be interesting, but also I would not be shocked if I heard that's something they've done in the comics like 3 times over.
I mean, they did that in Injustice, remember? That was like a whole thing with Injustice.
Yeah. Anyway, they showed that.
Yeah.
That's coming out.
I mean, that's probably a big bet for them. So
yes, for
I
sure.
hope it does well.
Some new Street Fighter 6 characters. I still have yet to play any of those betas or anything. I guess I'll just play that when it comes out at this point.
That's kind of where I'm at, too.
And they announced some VR games.
Yeah.
A lot of shooters.
Yeah, that's a pretty common thing to do in VR, it turns out.
There was, Foglands?
Yes.
Or the Foglands?
Yes.
Green Hell?
Yeah, I want to say Green Hell might be on PC in early access. I just typed Green Hill out of reflex. Give me Green Hill Zone VR.
You got it.
That's what I'm waiting for. Oh gosh, Green Hell has been out. Not in VR though. It's been out on PC for like since 2019, but not in VR.
Oh, so this is a VR mode?
I believe this would be new for that. It's like kind of a jungle set survival game type thing.
Okay. Synapse?
Yes. Also kind of a
shooter.
First person-ish shooter.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that going around. Had they not announced Before Your Eyes for PS5? I swear.
I thought they had.
I think it maybe is just the reveal of the release date. I am finally going to play that game when it comes out on PSVR2. I've been meaning to play it for a while, but it's the game. It's like a very narrative focused game, but it can track eye tracking. Like it can be played multiple ways, but it can be played by blinking. I gather it does some pretty moving stuff story wise with that. But anyway, the VR headset obviously it tracks your eyes, so it seems like probably the best way to play that game.
I wonder if that's like exhausting on your eyes.
It's not a thing where you're like blinking rapidly or anything. I don't think. I'm not sure. I'm curious to finally see that game though. It's been out for a while on PC. And I guess they're doing a Foundation game.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yes.
That's based on the Asimov Foundation series, but is that? That's a show now, right?
Oh, is it?
Is it, Alex?
I don't know.
I thought there was, but I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I'd swear that's... Yes, that is a television series.
Of course it is.
That's a David S. Goyer.
I think this just launched.
Oh God, Jared Harris is in that? Okay, I've seen people talk about this.
No, I'm sorry. No, this was from like 2 years ago.
No, yeah, it's been going for a little bit.
Okay. But there's only been one season so far, I think.
You know, I read the Foundation books not that long ago for the first time. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt. Bashir from Deep Space Nine is in that show.
Hey, Alexander Siddig, he gets work. He was in Game of Thrones for a little bit too.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, they didn't use him well. He didn't get a lot of screen time, unfortunately. Okay, but I love that dude. When they actually let that dude act, he's great.
I didn't know he still acted a lot. That's why I was surprised by it. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I read it not that long ago, and I don't know. It didn't. I don't think it's bad. It's just I had like not memorable. I don't really remember that much from it. I mean, I like Asimov stuff. It's just maybe I should reread it.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the original books at all. But yeah, they're still announcing PSVR games pretty steadily.
Yeah,
nice
for sure.
See.
Like I said, you go into that store, there's plenty there. And now, like, whether stuff is exclusive or new releases, that's another story. But there are definitely things coming to plug your headset into and to spend your money on.
Yeah. They actually announced like 10 other games last week, not at the State of Play. Sequel to A Fisherman's Tale, which was pretty cool if you've never played it.
Yeah.
Gorn is getting ported.
I'll play some Gorn. Gorn. I'm not above
it. Some neat looking stuff. Startender's Intergalactic Bartending.
Startenders.
That could be cool. Bartending in VR sounds kind of neat.
It's a thing we've talked about a lot, which during the first kind of or second wave VR, which is a lot of experiences sometimes and not like a lot of deep games.
Yeah.
Where like, oh, this is a really fun, like Gorn is a fun experience. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there.
I need to give Light Brigade another shot. That was pretty overwhelming and seems extremely demanding, but like talk about a game that tries to just be a game-ass game in VR.
And enter the Light Brigade.
Did you try it?
Here comes the light. I did not know.
Okay, it's just called the Light Brigade.
Yeah. No. What's the March of the Light Brigade? What is the
Charge of the Light Brigade?
Charge of the Light Brigade?
Yes. Tennyson.
Charge your Light Brigade. Charge your controllers before getting to the Light Brigade. All right. Our last story here, Brad.
Yeah. Shinji Mikami leaving Tango Gameworks.
Yeah. The company Shinji Mikami founded Tango Gameworks, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Obviously, they just put out Hi-Fi Rush. I'm not clear how involved, if at all, he was with that.
I think he just had sort of like an overseeing creative role, but it was mostly the direction was the guy who sounds like he might be ascending into Mikami's position.
Yeah, I mean, it's tempting to say like, oh, that's a hell of a game to go out on. He may not have actually contributed that much to it, but it does leave the studio in a pretty promising place for them to have dropped a game of that quality, especially when their previous stuff has been a little more uneven. Anyway, I don't know what he's up to next, if anything. I don't think he's said. He's had an illustrious career. I wonder if maybe he's, I don't know,
thinking about retiring.
They sold that studio to Bethesda. Maybe he's just going off to start another one. That's what you do, right? Once you sell a company, you leave and start another one.
Or you
take
or 3 that
times.
money and you go live your best life away from this fucking industry.
Also a possibility. I don't know if he's looking to retire or what, but I mean...
You live Jeff Minter's dream.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, he's departing, but safe to say Tango Gameworks will continue on.
Going out on a high note, no matter what the involvement was on Hi-Fi Rush. It's a cool game announced in a cool way.
Yes.
Or not even announced, released in a cool way.
Kind of just like unassailable. Everything about the way they rolled it out, and like there's not a whole lot. I mean, you could say like, oh, I got tired of it after a while or whatever, but received extremely well.
Ghostwire Tokyo, though.
Went down very smooth. Yeah.
All right. That is the news for this week. And that's going to wrap up our show for the content-wise. Let's just recap quickly here. We talked about some PlayStation VR stuff. We talked about Atomic Heart. Company of Heroes 3, Kerbal Space Program 2, Akka Arrh, Humanity, Dead Space, Humanity demo, Dead Space, and we touched on a little bit of the Hitman freelancer mode. We went through the news. We do have an email address, podcast@nextlander.com, podcast@nextlander.com, but we're gonna let the podcast basket fill up a little bit, and then we'll get to that. We're running a little long here on time. We had a lot of games to talk about this week.
Yep.
So let's let that one marinate, but you can send emails into podcast@nextlander.com, and we'll look through those for the next time. You can go support us over at patreon.com/Nextlander. Over at the patreon.com/Nextlander page, you'll find a bunch of tiers. If you are not already signed up, you can find a tier that is right for you. A lot of benefits attached to different tiers there. We're going to be recording Never Been a Better podcast that's going to get recorded and put up next week. So look forward to that. I believe that is Austin and Bacalar scheduled for that one. I think that's right.
That sounds right.
That sounds right. And then we've got the Watchcast going up a week early over there. That means next week you could be kicking off our Michelle Yeoh month. Alex, with what movies?
We are doing a double feature to kick things off with a couple of her Hong Kong classics in Yes, Madam and Police Story 3 Super Cop.
Boy, I've only watched Yes, Madam so far, and
Yes, Madam is some shit.
It sure is.
Boy, that movie starts off with a bang.
Real roller coaster ride, that one.
So we'll have those, and we'll be continuing on for the month with Michelle Yeoh's work. When are the Oscars?
In like a week or two.
Okay, so by the time we get into this, we'll know if she's won an Oscar.
Yes, by the time we get to Everything Everywhere All at Once, we will know if she actually won the Oscar she's been nominated for. And to be fair, she did win the Golden Globe and the SAG Award, so it feels like it's trending in that direction.
Is there like a hat trick for those?
No, the EGOT is the thing. Like that's the one if you get one of each.
Then Obie?
I don't think anyone's that impressed
Tony?
if you win the Oscar, the Golden Globe, and the SAG Award. That usually just means we'll know everyone just like that one performance.
Okay, fair enough.
Which is fair.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I like that movie a lot. You can go check that out. You can check out our previous entries up there as well. Of course, our 90s sci-fi action, goofy sci-fi action month was a lot of fun. That is over there on patreon.com/Nextlander. There is one tier there, though, that gets their names read on this here show, the Mysterious Benefactor tier, and I am going to read those this week, starting with RRE, John Richardson, Vornak, Kelly F., James Smith, Brian Lucier, Skywarp, John Hubbard, Sean Miller, Brad's Midsize Hoodoo Voodoo, Evan Cook, Mark Wilhelm, JM, Jerry Lee, Gary Pejke, Robert Fisher, John McInnes, Octothorpe, hashtag Buddy Crimes. Is that just Octothorpe at that point?
Octothorpe.
I don't know.
I guess.
Listen,
that sounds like a Muppet.
Peter Reardon, Thomas Lynn, Jad Rita, Statics, Andrew Jackson, Razgriz 2, Brian Murphy, Trevor and Adrian R, Randy Duax, Andrew Tiebkin, Wario, Alex Wu, It Me JP, Matt Clements Jr., Edward Chick, Andrew Slosky, Steve Lynn, Matthew Herrig, David Campos, and Tyler Treese. Those are the Mysterious Benefactors for this week. We read your names because we're thankful, and we're thankful for everybody who has gone and supported us throughout the last 15 years of Nextlander greatness.
Plus the 68 years of excellence before that.
Yeah. When our great-grandfathers. Thanks everybody for supporting us over at patreon.com/Nextlander. Couldn't do it without you. Got a bunch of fun stuff going on this week. Got a bunch of fun stuff going on throughout. On Monday, we continued our Hitman Freelancer, and I'll say it was fun, but heartbreaking. Runs were started.
Hey, mine's
runs
still going.
Were ended. Yeah.
I just got started.
Just getting started. You can go check that out from Monday. We're going to have a grab bag on Thursday. Maybe you'll catch some Akka Arrh on there. Maybe you'll see something else. Who knows? Maybe there'll be
Not
some
too
humanity.
Much, too much Akka Arrh is dangerous.
No. Don't do Akka Arrh directly. And then Friday, we're going to do a Friday fun stream. We're still thinking about exactly what we want to have that much fun with and is legal here in the United States. So we got to figure that out. Got to talk to some lawyers before we do that. Like I said, the Watchcast going on. You can catch that wherever the best podcasts are found. Search for the Nextlander Watchcast. And that's going to do it for the show this week. I want to thank everybody for joining us. I want to thank Abby Russell for joining us on the Patreon Q&A this week. You can check the archive of that out. And Brad Shoemaker, you are off doing other podcasts, video podcasts.
Yes, check out PC World's YouTube channel, The Full Nerd, with Gordon and Adam. We talked about that Bananas new Ryzen that just came out.
The X3D?
Yes, the 7950 X3D.
Cross 3D?
Split, yes, maybe. That might be better, actually. Gets a little hard to talk. Man, is it hard to talk about CPUs. Holy shit. Not the, I mean, conceptually, talking about like split dies and all, process stuff or whatever. I'm talking like the product naming.
Mm-hmm. Sure, I bet.
The mouthful of talking about 7900, 7950, 7950 X3D, 13900K, 13900KS, like keeping all that shit straight and saying it fast. Like, man, God bless them.
It was really interesting to watch. That first segment on the CPUs was really interesting. A lot of graphs, a lot of charts. But then you talk about the state of consoles and PC.
We did a little check-in on where's the PC games business at and all that stuff.
And what kind of cars Gordon likes.
Man, Gordon's got opinions. On everything.
He's been in it for a while. He's allowed to have opinions.
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
Where can people go again? The PC World.
That is PC World's YouTube channel, which I think if you Google it, you should be able to find it. I don't know the URL. YouTube.com/PC World.
Okay, that's easy enough.
They got the short name.
Good. Go check it out. It's a nice, meaty, long conversation.
Yeah.
You'll have fun there. Thanks, everybody, again. We'll be back soon. Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Alex. Thanks, everybody, for joining us on another Nextlander podcast. See ya.